Ballroom. And the second annual Verselandia All-City High School Slam Championships. Congratulations to all our finalists down here. Please give them a warm for those of you unfamiliar with Literary Arts, we're a nonprofit literary center based here in Portland, downtown. We run Portland Arts Lectures, the largest lecture series in the country for writers and authors that are world renowned. Many of you met in that concert hall as part of the Student Certificates program. We also run the Oregon Book Awards and Fellowships program, which supports, celebrates, and honors Oregon's great writers and publishers. I look forward to seeing all of you one day on stage receiving an Oregon Book Award or a fellowship. We also run the Writers in Schools program, which reaches 2,800 high school students every single year in Portland Public Schools, with 15-week residencies by teaching artists, with mentorships, with writing, and of course, with the great and the good Verselandia. We have some amazing special guests here tonight. The great and the good have shown up. Carol Smith, the superintendent of schools, is here tonight. Give her a big round of applause. Sergeant. Big round of applause, please. Albert of the mayor's office is here tonight. Please give him a big round of applause. And Kendall Clausen from the governor's office is here tonight. Please give her a big round of applause. We also have some great and the good judges on the side here. I'm going to let Anise introduce them a little bit later on, but I want to thank them for their help. And I want to thank, seriously, all of the librarians and all the PPS schools who put together your teams. It's because of them that we are here. It's because of them that this exists, and we are incredibly grateful for the things that they do for our community each and every day, including Verselandia, but many, many, many other things. I also want to thank Hunt Holman, who made sure that you all got here safe and sound on buses and had pizza and all that stuff, so give Hunt a big round of applause. And also, I really want to thank Mary Reckner, the director of the Writers in Schools program, who works year-round to make sure you guys have wonderful literary experiences. Please give a round of applause to Mary Reckner. This also wouldn't be possible without our amazing sponsors, so give it up for Portland Monthly, and particularly Randy Gregg and Kelly Montagna. There's Randy over there. Right on. Knowledge Universe has supplied our amazing prizes. I am not going to tell you what those prizes are, but Anise is. But give it a round of applause for Knowledge U and David Roy. And finally, last but certainly not least, I want to thank Wyden & Kennedy, particularly Janita Childs, who's over there, our fishbowl gal, but also Dan Sheniak, Mary Norman, and Jessica Shaw. And I really want to give a big shout out to Dan Wyden, who owns and runs Wyden & Kennedy. They are an underwriter. They are here because we're here because of them. So please give a big round of applause. Wyden & Kennedy. And I'm excited to announce, too, that the winners of tonight's performance, the 5 poets who win tonight, will go to Wyden & Kennedy on May 8th. They will perform for the entire agency, and that performance will be broadcast statewide on OPB radio to 10,000 people. So we are very indebted to our community. As that long list of thank yous shows you, we are supported by our community. If you feel so moved at the end of this and you want to support us, there's a gift envelope in your programs tonight. We greatly appreciate it. Hundreds of people come together to make literary arts happen, and we are very, very grateful to them. It is now my great honor to introduce Anis Majghani. He is a national and international slam champion. Anis's work, he's also been a TEDx speaker, and his work has appeared in HBO, NPR, and journals such as Rattle, Muzzle, and The Lumberyard. He's the author of 3 books, The Feather Room, Over the Anvil We Stretch, and the brand new Songs from Under the River. He's performing, by the way, on May 6th at Powell's Books, I believe, on Hawthorne. So go check it out. And he's originally from New Orleans. Anis once lived here in Portland, and so we're claiming him as our own. And he taught in our Writers in Schools program. He has come here all the way from Austin, Texas, to host the 2nd annual Verselandia. Please give it up for Anis Majghani.
Thank you, Andrew. How are you tonight, Portland? Oh! What a Fantastic response. So before we get this joke underway, there's something I want you all to do. I want everybody in here to take out whatever electronic doodads they have in their pockets. And if you feel so desired, send out into the internet via whatever social media outlet is your favorite, where you are, what you're doing. Make the world jealous that they are not sitting in your seats right now. And put on the end of it the hashtag for Verselandia. And when you're done with that, turn it off. Electronics and poetry do not mix. Just kidding. But tonight they don't. Thank y'all so much for coming tonight. Are you guys excited for this? This is so awesome. Before we get started, I want to take a little bit of house cleaning duties, make sure everybody's on the same page. So who in here tonight has been to a poetry slam before? Who of y'all, this is a brand new experience? Hey, take pride in it. Take pride in it. We welcome people of all shapes and sizes. So for a little bit of background, the poetry slam, what it is an arena of poetry competition where poets are given 3 minutes to share a poem that they created. It started in the mid-'80s in Chicago, courtesy of a construction worker named Mark Smith. Exactly. Let's try that again. In the poetry community, the poetry slam community, we have this thing that whenever Mark Smith's name is uttered from the stage, the entire audience yells, "So what?" So we'll try this one more time. In the mid-1980s, poetry slam was invented by a Chicago construction worker by the name of Mark Smith. Fantastic. And he was tired of people feeling like poetry was not for them and feeling that poetry was something that solely belonged in dusty textbooks and on the shelves of elite scholars and whatnot, and wanted to shake things up. So he invented this essentially a bar game that, as I said, allowed poets to come out and share the things that were in their hearts, the things that were in their minds, to an audience of people. And out of that audience, 5 judges were selected, and we do what we do with all great art. We assign a number to it. So those judges then give a score to the poem based on whether they like it or dislike it, ranging from 0 to 10. And then out of those 5 scores, the high and the low are dropped, the 3 are squished together, and that score is given to that poem that we hear. So as I was starting to say, the poems that come up tonight, given by these poets, have to be written by them, original creations. No costumes, no props, no musical accompaniment. What we're going to have tonight is, over this year, there have been the schools of Portland participating in this. We have 10 schools participating, and over the year, they've had their own individual poetry slams. And out of those slams, 3 finalists have been selected, and those top 3 poets from each of those schools is going to come here tonight and dump their blood, sweat, and tears, heart and soul onto the stage for you, this lovely audience here. And we are going to cheer and holler and have a great freaking time. You on board? Fantastic. So in the first round, we're going to hear 30 poets. We're going to take a brief intermission, hear a little music from the rap stylings of Elias and Itai. Then we're going to come back, and we're going to bring back up the top 15 poets from the first round. They're going to share their poems. And then the top 5 scores from the first round and the second round will be averaged together, and those will be our top 5 winners. And like Andrew said, the top 5 winners will all be sharing work next week at Wyden and Kennedy, which is going to be awesome. I wish I was going to be able to be in town for that. What's that? And but we have additional prizes as well. For our 4th and 5th place winners, they will receive gift cards to Urban Outfitters, I believe. 2nd and 3rd place winners will receive each a brand new iPad, and our 1st place winner will receive a brand spanking new MacBook. So this is serious business tonight. Serious business. So as I mentioned, how the Poetry Slam works is that we have judges. And usually on any given slam night, the judges are just picked out of the audience, but we are fortunate enough to have 5 fantastic, beautiful souls over here to my left. Give them a round of applause. And they have stepped forward, selected and chosen, and decided to judge this evening. So I'm going to run through these bios right quick, and we'll give them a huge round of applause at the end. We have with us tonight, returning from last year's judging duties, poet and director of education for Caldera, Taria Autry. She is one of Portland's premier and most potent poets. She's been breathing life and spitting mad fire into mics on stages across the state since 1997. Right here we have Alice Capriel Comas. She's a Portland attorney who loves words. She's also on the board of directors for literary arts. Next to her on this side, we have Randy Gregg. He's the editor-in-chief at Portland Monthly Magazine. On the other side of Taria, we have Desmond Spann, a.k.a. Deluxe the Light. He's an artist of the positive kind, and he is qualified to judge because when it comes to poetry, it's like he flunked recess. He don't play. And last but certainly not least, we have Max Williams, CEO and president of the Oregon Community Foundation. Please, a large round of applause. Judges, you have a hard, heavy task before you. Make sure, above all, you stay consistent in your score giving. Do not be swayed by the audience. You five alone were selected to decide what is considered poetry tonight, what will live on in the history of this evening. Do not be swayed by the audience. Audience, do all in your power to sway the judges. The wonderful thing about the Poetry Slam is that it is a participatory art form. It is not just a poet sharing a poem to a dark, empty void, but rather a call and response. If you hear a line or a phrasing that you like, snap your fingers. Do it with me. If you hear something that hits your heart in your chest, clap out loud, stomp your feet, hoot and holler. And if you hear a score from the judges that supports what you feel for that poem, cheer as loud as you can. If you hear a score that you kind of don't agree with, in an effort to keep it a little bit positive and light in here, as opposed to booing that score, remind those judges to open up their ears and to listen to the poet. Let's try it. Let's imagine that got thrown up a score that you can't stand. What are you going to yell to the judges? Guys, let's get on the same page here. Come on. Listen to the poet. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm going to pretend that was awesome and we're going to move forward because I believe in you. So, are you guys ready for the Poetry Slam? Are you ready for the second annual Verselandia? Unfortunately, you are not. For there is one piece of brilliant information I forgot to share with you. The slam cannot move forward until blood has been spilt upon this stage. So what we have in the Poetry Slam is a thing called the Sacrificial Poet. And the Sacrificial Poet is also known as the Calibration Poet. And that poet's job is to share a poem, and it is to allow the judges to awaken their poetic ear and get their judging minds and hands ready, and to allow the audience the opportunity to get their poetic ear open as well, and to learn how to respond and dance with the words that they're hearing. It allows the judges the opportunity to pick a poem, to hear a poem, to score a poem that they can judge all the other evening's poems against, so that they can, in an effort to stay consistent throughout the next 2+ hours of poetic beauty. So, this poet, as a reminder, is not going to be part of the competition. We're going to score him as we would. We're going to cheer him as we would if he was in the competition. And so without further ado, I want you guys to help me bring to the stage the first poet of the evening. A hearty round of applause for Benjamin Payne. And make sure you clap him all the way up to the stage.
All right, so you already know my name, and this poem is called Death, Youth, and Beauty. I live in the oldest graveyard in existence. Memories litter the grass like so many lost dreams. Yet I adore the greenling's fair persistence. Thoughts grown from those far gone have the ground bursting at the seams. I know not when all will disappear. As I grow, I find I don't know much at all. I know what I see and feel and taste and hear. Yet from what little knowledge I have found, I know we can't yet fall. I know that many see naught but decay, yet some young minds perceive a little more, that death can be beautiful too in its own way. I'm sorry, I can't read my own handwriting. And with every noble word that fell and drowned, a new one found the shore. I sometimes sit and think about my life, and it's impossible not to ask, why am I here? The world is full of so much sadness, loss, and strife, and I tend to dwell upon the uncertain sound of a falling tear. It takes some time and care and ginger thought to realize my question's big mistake. For it matters little what one man has wrought, or what from just my head abounds, but what the world can make. Remember that as long as there once were great minds, the young of today have just as much to say. As one reaches into the ashes, he is surprised to find not just dust, but mental mounds of words to pave our way. As the young today present their metered magic, hear the echoes of the ideas from history's head, caught up and spewed from mouths gleeful and tragic. Understand no past generation's sound is ever truly dead. Thank you.
One more time for Benjamin Payne. Fantastic. Judges, you have your scores. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got tough judges tonight. We have, starting from low to high, we have a 1.8, a 3.2, a 4.6, a 5.6, and a 5.8. Applaud the poet. All right, before I bring up the first part of the competition, one quick thing that I forgot to mention. So, Dan, could you raise your hand? Dan, timekeeper Dan. So Dan is going to be in charge of keeping the time. And as I mentioned before, each poet has 3 minutes to share their poem, and there's a 10-second grace period. If any of the poets go over 3 minutes and 10 seconds, they'll get a half a point deduction for every 10 seconds. Don't worry, you don't have to worry about that. Dan, our scorekeeper, will be keeping track of that. If poets, you're not quite sure how long your poem is and you think that it's kind of around 3 minutes, keep your eye on Dan. Dan, could you raise your hand just so everybody knows where to look? If at 3 minutes, Dan is going to hold up his hand in a fist. At 3 minutes and 10 seconds, he's going to go like that. You're completely free to continue going on with your poem if it is that long, but just know that at that point, you'll start getting point deductions. All right? All right. That's what I like to hear. All right, so I'm going to reach over to this fishbowl over here and pull out the first name of the first competitor in the second annual Verselandia. And I apologize if I mispronounce your name. I'll do the best that I can. Yes, a round of applause for our fishbowl lady. And please continue that round of applause for our first competitor, McLeod Sumner.
Hi, my name is McLeod Sumner. My grandfather taught me how to play chess. He was a singer and he told jokes. One evening, we sat and sipped tea as he stole my knights and kidnapped my queens. The next day, he passed away, and not even the Brazilian holy man could stop the cancer that defeated extract of ground shark tooth and the marijuana he grew in his backyard. R.I.P. Jones, Bobby Lee. Who am I to use this man's name? His grandson? No. We're given names at birth, but our true names come later, ones we earn. I think the Indians had it right with their tall trees and standing elks and sitting bulls. They would have called me sitting down. You see, every day I read like I have a final tomorrow. Mark Twain would enjoy the pleasure of my conversation. I think thoughts that would make Plato blush and Socrates go, aha. But bravery, true bravery, comes in being Jason on the Argo, and being Juliet with the poison in her hand, and being Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon. True bravery comes in doing. But it doesn't take much for me to notice a girl, pretty face, smile, kind word, and memories of you will steal my nights. I'm too much of a romantic fool not to fall in love. But when I do, it's like I'm asleep. I'm falling. I'm too much of a coward not to wake up before I hit the ground. But words I should stay locked away till a man comes who don't play and kidnaps my queen. My grandfather's name is in the middle of my other two, and I feel it pushing on each side, trying to get out. My treasure chest is buried somewhere, X marks the spot, but the map is of no place I've seen before. But I'm done. I'm done being the bravest man never to lift a hand. I'm done quietly seeing women go to another man. I'm done being an ostrich with its head in the sand. I will stand up tall with my head back and my shoulders proud. I will be true in deed and word. I will speak when I should. I'll take chances, do dances, go home feeling good. And I will put myself in danger. I will be Indiana Jones. I will take the leap of faith, because I have come to believe that it is better to be sorry than safe. My name is McLeod Jones Sumner. My grandfather's name is Bobby Lee Jones. When he was 20, he biked from Seattle to New York City. He's dead now. Grandma keeps his ashes in an urn. In the quiet corner of their house, a candle burns day and night. If that flame, his flame, were to burn the house down, it would be a fitting end. Thank you.
McLeod Sumner. Please hold on to your scores until I call them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hear a cell phone out there. Make sure it goes off. Double check yours if you're worried. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, starting from low to high, we have a 5.1. Whoa. How quickly you guys are forgetting the lesson we learned at the beginning of the night. Not boo, but there you go. You got to teach these judges, man. Judges are simple creatures. You have to be gentle with them. So we have a 5.1, a 6.2, a 6.8, a 6.9, and a 7.0. Dan, did we have a time penalty on that? We did. Boo linear time. That we can boo. Scorekeeper Dan, what do we have for McLeod? All right, we'll touch base with that score in just a moment. We need to average the 3 middle ones together. So the middle 3 need to be added together. Drop the low, drop the high. So what do we have? But what is the final score? 6.6. We will. All right, we'll get back to that score in the next round, between the next poet. We've got it. We're working the kinks out. We have it? All right, what do we have? 19.9. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage, Lily Lovett.
Okay. Yo, guys. Okay. I used to think I used to be that girl wading through walls, seen only as the girl who used to, but used to is just another way of saying 6 feet under anything I used to do, because ever since I was a child, I have wanted to be someone else. I gave pieces of myself away, and there's a list of things I'll never say buried deep. I am my own constant, is just my raised with a crust cut off way of saying I do not abide by time. And while belief is a nice little cliff I clutch to, every girl that passes is another inch on my height, a shield going up and up and up. In the years, they're minus another cornflake at breakfast, an offhand exclamation of adoration, a charm from my sweet lollipop-loving best friend who no longer has glasses and braces and walks with a limp. But I can hear a whisper that has passed from family to fortune, from friend to foe, and the words wrap around my wooden, wilting silhouette and tell me the only truth I have ever known and the lie I was ever told. I am a copy made many times over and molded to match my maker. I hide my fire, my failure, my first, because I'm not like anybody else. I hide the letters of my name, the color of my eyes, the way my body turns, and the direction of everybody else. But this is a gambling game. Every overturned card or falling dice, and there should be, won't be, hopefully, maybe, this will be the end, because I'm just in their knot, in their rope, a chain for their keys. I'll be given a medal for my successful failure, because it delves and delves deeper still. I am, but I am empty, and yet they expect me to raise up my hands with my roots unashamed and shout and score my little feet and speak. I'll spout years and they'll wait with me, but when I leave them, I go home to another army, a screaming, wailing army I can't fight off. I used to think I used to be that girl, because my shadow lives in the shadows of others, because my weakness is my worth, because I am the battle over passion or passivity, and I have no part to play. I'm falling into place with pulsing pulses, because lady and miss are just words they use instead of alive, letting my youth die and seen only as the ghost who used to be a girl.
Lily! Judges, what do you have for me? 1, 2. We have 2 scores, 3 scores, 4 and 5, starting from low to high. We have a 4.7, a 7.1, a 7.6, a 7.6, and a 7.8. What'd you think of the poem? Remember, the point is not the points, but the point is the poetry. Do we have a score for Lily? A 22.3. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage, Ariana Jacobs.
Hello, my name is Ariana, and this is called My Own. All my truths collide in my eyes, inflame me in that realization. The weight I carry is triple the amount of yours. For I am a woman, living society fueled by the very power of testosterone. My only purpose is to be seen but never heard. My only undertaking is to cook, clean, and bear more children for your benefit, always your benefit. But where is mine? It is my only war to watch my own son become the very bastard who suppresses me now. Is this my destiny, or can't I choose my own? All my truths collide in my eyes, Inflame me in that realization, the weight I carry is triple the amount of yours. For I am black, that stain across America's purple mountain's majesty, the history, buried in an unmarked grave, a slave whose blood and sweat and tears are the very foundation of America's economy. We live in a society that only sees hardened criminals, meant to be hurt behind bars, and young teenage mothers, meant to be bought and used, but never loved. Is this my destiny, or can't I choose my own? All my truths collide in my eyes. Inflame me in that realization, the weight I carry is triple the amount of yours. For I am gay, constantly reminded by society to hide in that cramped little closet, because I am the subversion of natural law of things, predisposed to die of AIDS, commanded not to ask or tell. The very right of marriage is denied because of a book written 1,000 years ago. Is this my destiny, or can't I choose my own? I stand at the intersection of black girl and gay. Society constantly contemplating on what my destiny holds. But I will not be defined by society, for I will choose my own. Thank you.
Ariana Jacobs. Judges, let's see your scores. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Starting from low to high, we have a 4.8, a 7.8, a 7.8, a 7.9, and an 8.5. Mr. Scorekeeper. A 23.5 for Ariana Jacobs. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage, Lauren Steele.
I bang on these tables, and I spit to the beat, knowing this is the only place art and education meet. This space between my palms and this graffitied up desk is where dozens of lost talents have been laid to rest. Books raggedy and torn, barely serving any use. The seams of our school system are slowly coming loose. Disturbingly vacant band rooms ringing with music unplayed. Wood-rotted dance studios, choreography yet to be made. Shake your head at our generation, for we will do nothing great. Street corners and welfare offices hold our fate. The minority schools will live up to the way you display them. Sports scholarships the only path, but ain't no money to play them. Headphones hidden under hoodies disguising our creative fix. Lord knows real life and school life ain't never supposed to mix. Private schools snickering at our literacy and test scores, fueling a fire of insecurity. Trust me, I want to know more. Teach me. Understand my troubles, try to reach me, teach me. Take these inaccuracies out my speech, please. The right to education is to each see, teach me. You can't leave our education in the hands of a few folks with degrees. We are all perfectly capable of achieving what this system needs. I am tired of artless, colorless schools, same syllabus every year. Don't support our future leaders, and your future is unclear. Your answer to worldly crises could lie in this city. There are young potential leaders in need of more than just your pity. So I'ma stand up here in hopes of contributing to this fight, because maybe with a little help, our generation will get it right.
Lauren Steele. Judges, scores for me. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have from low to high a 6.8, a 7.4, an 8.5, a 9.0, and a 9.0. Giving us a grand total of 24.9. Applaud the poet. And keep it going for Kalia Casanova Fish.
Hello? Sorry. My name's Ke'Shayla, and I wrote what girls are. Wrapped in plastic, dressed in cashmere and fabric, put on shelves like trophies. Why, yes, girls are made of these, and the time has come for me to pick my material, the ones that will bind me and dress me, put me in a sheath. But what if I decide not to? What if I never let my edge rust, decide to keep a sharp tongue, one that cuts through you? Let's pray this gets through to you before my gears and my levees break. So, just for my sake, I got it. So, just for my sake, man, this sucks. Sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, you think you can fix me? Don't bother, because that screw was loose to begin with, so don't try to change the CD, because this record does not skip, record does not skip. I'm on repeat, constantly refusing to change my ways and be like those girls who get low, 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 and drop class down to the floor. How about I pick class up and place over everyone's head and make it harder to get to, but you just want an easy lady. A lay down, please me, lady. Well, plug your ears and close your eyes, because you won't believe this lady. One that will never wear just cashmere and fabric, one that trophies are what she gets, not what she is. One that dressed in dignity and wrapped in honor and strength, placed in the halls like goddesses. Why, yes, a real woman is made of this.
Round of applause for Ke'Shayla. Judges, scores up. If 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from low to high, we have a 4.4, a 5.1, a 5.4, a 6.0, and a 6.8. What do you think about the poem? And that score is 16.5. Applaud the poet. And keep it coming for Joe Cullen to the stage.
Thank you. Nap time is over. Free time begins. But not for me. It's business time. There she sits, alone with her paints, her butterfly barrettes sparkling as the light hits them from above and my vision blurred. Destination locked, my feet move. I bound over flocks of small classmates, racing small cars, pretending to read, building block towers, playing Go Fish, when then my feet hit her desk with a thud. How's it going, I ask. She says I'm doing fine. Her eyes send me heat waves and I melt just a little. I realize I nearly forgot of my bribe. I reach in my pocket, come out with a cookie. I was saving it for lunch, but I don't care. My stomach is too filled with butterflies. Do you want this, I ask? She kindly says thank you. I want to reply, but the words, they're not coming. I choke again, a third time. Then I blurt, I think that I probably definitely love you. The houses you paint are the best I've ever seen. You're the only one who can beat me in a game of 2 square. You know the entire works of the genius Dr. Seuss, and we have the same favorite band. The Wiggles. They're great, right? In gym class, you're the only one I want as a partner. Next to lunchtime and SpongeBob, you're the best part of my day. I'm the Beast. You're the Beauty. I'm an ogre. You're Fiona. You're like Cinderella, except for the one small fact that she changes back at midnight, and you're perfect all the time. I realize I'm rambling. I have to get to it. I put my hands on the table, lean in close, stand to my full height of 3'6", and I blurt out with the passion of 1,000 smiling suns, will you be my wife? Now, I've been married before, 3 times in fact. My last one went on for almost a week, but this is the big one to end my search. I want her to be my concluding chapter, because with her I'll be fulfilled. A god amongst boys. I'll give her mind, body, soul, and all the cookies I ever get. She'll make my life just as perfect as her. All I need is that glowing response. I look at her face, that fantastic visage, and my throat constricts as her melodious voice lets the word come streaming from her lips. No. I look over my shoulder, and I see we have a guest. Zachary. With his $20 sneakers that light up when you stomp, shorts so baggy they might well be a skirt, baseball cap though he knows they're not allowed in class. Oh, what a rebel this guy is. Can I help you, he asks. Reply, I do not. I know why he's here, and that I shouldn't be. I pivot, my dead eyes nailed to the floor, and begin the long march back to my desk. In the free hour, I sit and watch Zach and the girl I've loved for 4 hours eat my cookie.
Joe Cullen. Judges, what you got for me? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From low to high, we have a 5.7, a 7.5, an 8.0, a 9.2, and a 9.3. Was there a time penalty on that? There was. So what is our final score? 23.7. Applaud the poet. One more time for Joe Cullen. And keep that applause going, and welcome to the stage, Jocelyn Lloyd. All the way to the stage. Bring her up.
To the person who planned the seating, shame on you. That's awful. So yeah, I'm Jocelyn, and this is the diary. Dear Alice, 3 a.m., and my heart crawls up my spine. I hear Daddy's car. Headlights breach my bedroom window like nightmares into a child's mind. He's home from the bar. And Mommy's not happy about it. I tell you, she raises hell about it. Where have you been? I can hear her shout from all the way upstairs. The children are asleep, and I want you to get the fuck out. And so then, the door slams, just like my mom will. She quivers like the door hinges. Daddy lurches forward, and she cringes. He takes out a fistful of hair as if he's pulling out weeds. Stop it, George. The children are asleep. Please, I want you to get out. These are the words I can hear her whisper. Dear Alice, 301, so much has been done. Mommy sobs. Daddy must have raised a fist and is raising the roof off of this house. How much longer will the foundation hold? The roof is gone and I can feel the cold. The walls are shaking now. I can't even breathe now. Please don't ask me how, but I think this is it for us. This is it. Here comes the rush. Dear Alice, 302, Daddy's really going at it. I don't know if she can take it. She has a weak back. When will he break it? Please, somebody teach me to understand why some people accept the love they think they deserve, even if it's hurting them. He's hurting her, Alice. Dear Alice, it's 3:03, and I'm still alone here. Jacob's in the next room. I bet he's as scared as me, afraid of the morning and what we'll see. Jacob's 2 years older than me, says he'll become a man someday, maybe even a soldier. But I wish that was today, because I need him, Alice. It's never too early to be a hero, right? At least for tonight. Dear Alice, 3:04, and I can't take this anymore. I should grab my suitcase and pack. I'll be gone by the morning. I won't even look back. I'll pack my dolls and my dreams. That's all I really need. I don't see how out there could be any worse than in here. My heart beats out of my chest because I want my mommy Alice and Jacob too. You know what? This could be hell at best. 54 seconds, 55, 56, 57, 58, 3:05. Dear Alice, there's no more noise downstairs. The mauling is over. The bear went to slumber. He's done hurting my mom? Well, I wish Dad had his number. But where is she now? I'm still waiting for Mommy to enter my room, but there's no knock on the door. Dear Lord, she's missing her cue because you see, this is the part where she comes in and says, honey, can I talk to you? Then she goes on about princesses and wizards and some man named Jack Daniels, but I don't know him. He must be a friend of Daddy, and I sure hope he's nice. Then she says, I can't tell anyone about what happened at 3:01. It's a family secret, you see, but we aren't really a family. At least I don't think so, but what do I know? Because what is love? What is hate when you're alone in the world and only 8?
Jocelyn Lloyd. Judges, what do you have for me? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 6.4. A 6.6, a 6.8, a 6.8, and an 8.7. Applaud the poet. Can you lift them back up one more time? To me. A 6.4, a 6.6, a 6.8, a 6.8, and an 8.7. A 20.2. Applaud the poet. And welcome up to the stage, Bella Murray. It sometimes takes people a while to get to the stage, so please support them all the way up to the microphone.
Okay, so this is called Every 2 Weeks. Every 2 weeks, he fills a syringe halfway with a chemical compound of synthetic masculinity, which he hopes will change him. But he wakes in the morning, irritation flaring red hot across his all too feminine body, and this is when he wants to cry. Every 2 weeks, he gets a little taller, a little stronger, a little more hair grows on his face, his voice gets a little deeper, but still, every 2 weeks, he wakes up feeling more alienated, more isolated, because who would understand it? Every 2 weeks, my miracle wakes up a little more refreshed because he knows today is the day he can breathe again. And when he looks in the bottle, the liquid inside intimidating and saddening, he half fills the small needle and shoots up and is strong again. Every 2 weeks, I wonder how he can go on because the frustration eats away inside him. The disappointment of everything he doesn't have but wants, everything he isn't but can be, everything he wishes but can't have, kills him a little inside. And my miracle cannot die because he has kept me going, awake, alert, alive. Every day I understand again that this is the man who treats me like his world, who treats me like I'm everything he's wanted and more, makes me cry with happiness every day. And when he calls me perfect, I can't help but smile yet frown because I am far from perfect. But every 2 weeks, he wakes up, anger in his aching bones, and yet he still goes on. And the next 2 weeks will come, filled with more needles, filled with more synthetic masculinity, filled with more pain and heartache and sadness. But every 2 weeks, I am still here. I am still alive, all because of you, my miracle, who is all the man I need.
Bella Murray. Judges. What do you have for the poem? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have from low to high a 6.4, a 7.2, a 7.2, a 7.3, and an 8.8. Giving us a score of 21.7 for Bella Murray. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage Gus Coates.
All right, I have a Twitter, and I really hate it. Composed tweet. Night walk. No. Night walk, hashtag mysterious. No. Mysterious, hashtag night walk. No. Night walk, hashtag essential insanities. No. Vague tweet announcing my allegedly mysterious lunar behavior, hashtag trying too hard. No matter how meta my ego allows my thumbs to get, I can't actually imagine anyone getting the Tom Robbins reference, let alone uncorking the tiny bottle and unraveling the full importance of my night walk. Cancel, don't save as draft C. I walk around at night and smell things. I figure somebody has to. Because when she doesn't think anybody's around, spring spills scents so secret sweet they bring back memories you didn't even have. But why do I keep trying to broadcast my episodes of solitude as if they belong to anyone but me? And the flamenco crescent moon picking the shadow of a tree like a Spanish guitar playing for a shivering star. So what do I really want to convey? I don't care what you do during the day. I want to know where you go, what you have to say when tweets like false eyelashes flutter away out of sight and the sky comes out to play for keeps. I don't want to hear a peep from bird brain, ugh, caught in the rain, hashtag not again. It's always the same. I know now why the caged bird complains. It can see you bending bars around the everyday 140 characters at a time, and a hashtag strung into chain link and lattice defense in your forgettable joys. You didn't need to set them out on a table. Pretend to feed anything but your own starlit fable. Instead, be not afraid, but be willing and able to fall out of the nest once in a while. For beak-broadcasted birdsong builds cages upon Nicolas Cages with birds for hair upon cages. And page after pages of deep tweets and terminal statements chirped by wing-clipped passerines, parched of substance perched on knuckles, puking parchment and ink, all messages in bottles, more cryptic plastic for the curious seagull to choke on. More slaughter for an ocean, more feathery glass and Gatorade than water, sailors more red 40 than blood. Remembering loneliness in old photographs smeared beneath a thumb. If you can fit your soul into a tweet that shit's malnourished, stop feeding it birdseed, hashtag dumb. So let that rain run down your cheek to shoe shard into sand, broken bottles into brand new beach, and in the shadow of a tree arched like a Spanish guitar, you can imagine the finger of God, or at least a kid with one eye closed, reaching down and plucking away this music too soft to hear over the hum of a radio wave.
Gus Coates. In an effort to speed the evening up, I'm going to stop reading out the final scores. I'm just going to read out the scores given, and it'll create a little bit more excitement in you guys. All right, so judges, what have we got right now? We have from low to high a 7.2, a 7.9, an 8.7, an 8.9, and a 9.2 for Gus Coates. Applaud the poet. And keep that applause going as we welcome to the stage. I'm going to mess this one up. Is it Ke'Shayla? I guess so. Ke'Shayla Brown.
My name is Ke'Shayla Brown, and this is Home is Where the Heart Is. I am home. I've got a light inside of me like the sun. You try to stare but can't. I'm too bright to bear. I am home. I look like a big yellow house with Howards on the porch step. On a corner you can always find, but my door is locked at 10 o'clock, so don't be late. I'm gonna tell you now. I could tell you so many things. I've seen so many things, watch history unfold around me. What they said could never happen, walk across my television. I've got generations in my eyes. In the definition of hope in my tear ducts, I am home. You may have incorrectly addressed me as Mother Howard, and I forgive your misconception, but I assure you it's pronounced home. Crawl up my steps. Let me wrap you in something warm. Don't fear this, let me feed you. I got beans on the stove churning in their heat at the very thought of feeding you. Don't hold that bitterness inside, soothe it with something sweet. Got cinnamon toast for you to meet. I am home. Touch my fingertips when you get lonely, 'cause I've got more love in them than anybody. I'll harbor your secrets in my heart. You can tell me anything. As far as I'm concerned, I've got 2 hands, and both of them are here to help you. I use them to build your feet like mountaintops, and you are my greatest accomplishment. I am home. Everything you ever needed in a home. My blessings are like ladybugs that touch your shoulder. This is how you hold a baby. Come on, baby. Let me teach you. I am home. My memories are like solar systems, never ending. Everything you ever needed in a home. And God blessed me to stay here this long for a reason. You were that reason. Watched you grow. Grasped your hands until you were old enough to grasp mine. And now I'm gone. But don't you worry. They got love in the very air here. Pain is but a memory. When I walked up to the gates, first thing God gave me was a gift. Stretch my arms out long and wide. Now I can hold all my children at the same time. And don't you worry, 'cause I'm here. I'm home.
Ke'Shayla Brown. Judges. What do you have for me? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have an 8.0, an 8.1, a 9.2, a 9.3, and a 9.3. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage, Maya Timms.
The hand of a clock is like a train. I stand at the station in the darkest hour of the nimbus-clouded rain last night. I saw the train approaching. The only thing that stopped me from putting my face was knowing that your fingertips would be found on every wall. Cold frames made from the fibers of my instincts, holding pictures of your warmth, would line every hall last night. I dropped my white flags into a bucket of fire and watched that ship burn like my nerves when you touched my eyelids, asking them not to close. Love. This train of mine isn't comfortable. The service is poor. It runs in circles, passing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and by the time it hits 12, I will hear you think, man, this is getting old. But love, I promise you that if we can make it to 1 again, you will find the conductor seat open. Let's pass 1 again and again. Let's go so fast that all we see is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, until we win. Let's win this fight and lose our time, because if losing time is finding you, then I don't ever want to wear a watch again or look out the window of our train. Let's forget that the station ever existed. twisted. Let's forget about the nimbus-clouded rain. See, I will not surrender to something that swallows my scars. I will not give up on something that absolves my pain. So let's ride this twisted world like it's a hula hoop on the hips of a deadbeat boy, refusing to pause just this once. See, optimism isn't my strong suit, and patience isn't yours, but if we each fill up a watering can with what we are able to give and give life to the seeds of our connections, we could grow a garden. It would be invasive like IVC. I didn't ask for this, but here it is. So let our banter stimulate your synapses, firing back and forth and back and forth. The chemicals derived from our chemistry are devoted to creation. They make their way through the brain matter that doesn't matter. To find the truth. Last night, I slipped my smile into the secret pocket of your yellow coat to keep you warm. Sometimes it's crooked, but I still think it could feel like home. Thank you.
Give it up for Maya Timms. Judges, we have, come on, 1 score, 2 score, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 6.2, a 7.5, a 7.6, an 8.0, and an 8.8. Please applaud the poet. And welcome up to the stage, Janet Webster.
I'm Janet, and this is called Society in Abstract. She has triangular palms and circular fingers. One arm is thin and yellow like a tooth. The other is that box that you pounded down for the garbage man, splattered with red and black and blue and trampled by the rain. Her spine is twisted so bad, almost as much as a politician's. And her heart is twisted just as badly, almost as if she were a politician. She has no neck and skin that fits her worse than her daddy's coat. When she was little, she drapes over herself in too many colors. She's burning on the inside out. She shrivels like a carcass if you look close enough, but no one ever does. She seems to be painted with melting wax, a failed attempt to be heard when you have nothing to say. But then you see her face. It's the perfect kind of round with skin so broken that it's healed and become marble soft as the lining on a winter jacket, warm as fire, warm like blood. But her blood is cold because her veins are ice, and nice isn't one of those words that describe her. A fighter, right, but for all the wrong reasons. And she's on the brink of a new revelation that could be devastating or beautiful, depending on the eye of the beholder. She's clever, using a plastic face to sink 1,000 ships, bringing them down with letter chains and bowling balls, willing to sacrifice the world in order to entertain herself. There's something between her brain and her mouth that likes to make pretzels out of the truth and send them out salted and baked to perfection for everyone to hear. Her voice is like a violin that hypnotizes ears from every corner of the world. But what she doesn't know is that it's not her voice at all, but the collective chant of the human race, and that face that she's so proud of is just paint. And the body she never seems to see is made not of skin, not of wax, but of mirrors, each speck the whisper of one of us.
Janet Webster. Judges, what have you got for me? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.2, a 7.3, an 8.1, an 8.2, and an 8.9 for Janet Webster. Applaud the poet. And keep that applause going for, is it May O'Neill. Welcome to the stage, May O'Neill.
Someone once told me that I had man hands. I didn't deny it because they are cracked, shaking, and big. But when they hold a pen, they hold promise. The lines that coil and tangle on the inside of my palms are just like my dad's, and the almost fingernails prove just how often I think about you. Someone once told me that I had eyes like glass, but I told them to tell me what they saw through mine. Because if eyes are windows to a person's soul, then mine are simply mirrors, reflecting back what you want me to be. Someone once gave me silence when I asked them if I was beautiful. A tangible, achingly black silence that still rests on my peripheral vision. Someone once told me that I was defined by my shortcomings, that my entire being could be summed up with a few ugly words used to describe an ugly girl, and I accepted it because it was better than being defined as nothing. Somewhere along the way, I ran out of excuses for them. My hands were just big, my eyes were just gray, and all love that I had for myself trickled away. The first bottle of nail polish I ever owned spilled bright red as the toxic absence of confidence slowly spread. I was so sick of waiting to become a butterfly that the flowers growing within me started to die. The serpent tongue of someone else once wrapped itself around my chest and squeezed and told me I wasn't good enough. A kiss on the forehead and a self-help book weren't going to help me, no matter what someone once told me. Then, as I drowned in their unforgotten words, gross, repugnant, repulsive, fat, ugly, worthless, I began to submit, and that someone with a smile told me to stop beating myself up over it. Yet I was already covered in bruises. Within me, there was more than a chemical imbalance. There was an 8-year-old cutting pictures out of a magazine, a 12-year-old trying to shove a SpongeBob toothbrush down her throat, and a 14-year-old who can't go 5 minutes without comparing herself to someone else. Someone once told me that this poem is crap, and it probably is, but still, I stand before you with my big hands and shaking voice, and it is all I have to offer. So the next time that same someone tries to tell me that I need to reach perfection, I'm going to have to remind myself to stop listening to my own damn reflection.
May O'Neill. Judges, what do you have for the poem? 1, 2, 3 scores, 4 scores, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.7, an 8.2, an 8.8, a 9.0, and a 9.1 from May O'Neill. And keep that excitement going and help me bring up to the stage McKinley Rodriguez.
What is love if not something to make you drunk and high? But I see that my handwriting is no different than before, even though this is only minutes old, because just as in the words of Winston Churchill, at least in the morning I will be sober. Boy, my pen has never been so keen to press words to sheets of paper just to preserve my feeling, because I know that soon I will be deleting playlists, moving messages, making an album of pictures, go live in a dark and almost forgotten folder. But this is not a breakup. A breakup is a snap, a sudden need to bear weight, and a failure. This is a gradual breaking away, as in the pulling apart of clay. This is a dissolution That's why I'm not deleting, not blocking, not forgetting. And what is love if not something to make you drunk and high? If not something that made me almost throw up in the park on a sunny day as we discussed the status of love. We never really used that word, but it had loomed there on the horizon, which you could never tell if it's leaving you or nearing you. And you said that our horizons were not equal, me with a projected trajectory aligning my sight, you quietly watching and not sure if you felt the same way, me drunk, you, me wondering if you were drunk, me, you wondering if I was drunk, and you quietly were watching. And I didn't edge away, and I prepared to throw up, and I slowly wondered if I could be graced with the realistic dream. And I looked into the tree branches and grabbed at my skin as if to wake myself up, and I was sad that I could never look at you the same, and latently angry. You hadn't told me earlier, had it stopped me, only instead to allow me to keep building, only to make me wonder, did I love you? Though you were the one to say you could not reciprocate the love, did I love you? When we assigned a different word to love and repeated it until it became a gentle lull, and I wondered if that lull was normal, if the butterflies were supposed to fly, but I thought that it was love, but at least a milder, younger form with a less terminal name. But boy, when you said that you can toss a toad in boiling water and it will jump out, but with incremental change, the toad will barely notice, and you tried to soften the blow because we weren't death or boiling, I had to wonder if you needed to escape. I wouldn't want to pretend that there's love and be gripped by an affected intoxication, but why do I keep pretending to myself that our connection is stronger than love, that we can remain friends? But that's just teasing myself, because later, if you have a girlfriend whom you think you love, or whom you really love, or you aren't with someone because you don't understand love, it might hurt. Thank you.
Give it up for McKinley Rodriguez. Judges, hand me your scores. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from low to high. We have a 6.7, a 7.1, a 7.3, a 7.6, and an 8.9. Applaud the poet. And please welcome to the stage, Kelsey Turner.
Oh, right. Can I get help with this? Yeah, it's not working. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's good. All right, this is called Superheroes. When I was younger, I was told a superhero was someone draped in a cape with a mask over their face to keep their identity safe, with superpowers that will help the greater good for all goodness sake. But then I was told by adults that these superheroes were fake, and I didn't want to believe it. I believed the adults had made a mistake. I mean, how could Superman be replaced? But with time, I had a realization: superheroes are real. At least mine is. You see, my superhero does not have to hide her identity. She comes open with herself like a public library, overcoming her struggles with amazing grace, telling me amazing comes easy, so now I'm called Ace. Started from nothing and moving from place to place, overcoming any challenges she may face. Her power for me is unconditional love that can go deeper than space. With determination and inspiration crashing down on me like a great waterfall, she gives me faith, because that's what a hero does, right? With the power of her love and will and cooking, just an extra skill she does not need. Super flight, super strength, or super speed, because of morality in any situation is all I really need. With death at her doorstep knocking, she opens the door and slams it in his face, so I will be damned if someone tells me that my superhero can be replaced. My superhero was made to protect me in and out of every season. So when she brings a law down on me and I ask, why can I do this? And she says, because I want to protect you. For me, that's more than a good enough reason. She was made to serve and protect. So I'm at a line and she swings that belt like she's Catwoman. I am quick to show respect. My hero was made to keep a roof over my head, making sure my belly is being fed, making sure I get to school on time by getting me out of bed, making sure my dreams can fly higher than Santa's sled. My hero is real. So real, I don't know where to begin. My love for her shines brighter than 22-inch chrome rims that spin, and I need my hero just as much as I need a trim. And I love her from her chin down to her shins to every other limb. And I'm proud to say this with a big-ass grin, that my hero comes in the form of my M-O-M.
Give it up for Kelsey Turner. Judges, hold them up high. I have 1 score, 2 score, 3 score, 4, and 5 from low to high. I have a 7.0, a 7.7, an 8.8, an 8.8, and an 8.8 for Kelsey Turner. Applaud the poet. And please welcome up to the stage. What? Do I need to read them again? Judges, can you hold them back up for me? We have from low to high a 7.0, a 7.7, an 8.0, an 8.0, and an 8.8. All right. And please welcome to the stage, is it Sakai? Sakai Edwards.
Okay, my name's Sakai. The Negro woman looked at the mirror mounted on the wall. She said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" The mirror responded. She said, "Snow White, you black bitch, and don't you forget it." When I was little, I wanted to be white. I wanted my hair to be long and blonde and my eyes to be blue. I wanted my skin to be ivory like I read in the books. I didn't want to be black. I didn't want Mom to buy that cream from the corner store, part my hair, tie it into braids, and throw it up. I wanted to wear it down like all the other girls did. I didn't want my history to be stolen or my ancestors to be beaten, so I started to make excuses for being black, like, well, I think I'm only like 3/4 black, but then again, I'm not even sure if I'm that much black. I mean, there's got to be something else in me, like, I started to learn what my oppressors were trying to teach me. Like, I started to believe that black was the lesser, so being less black is better, that for some reason the color of my skin was the determination of my destiny. I started to believe that being black is being ugly, and for some reason us black women get that the most. Because you ain't got $500 or something running through your hair to make it straighter, then you ain't beautiful. See, we're taught to wish that if we could make our skin 3 shades lighter to make it 3 shades whiter, we'd be 3 shades more beautiful, attributing white with beauty. So now we're bleaching our skin to become beautiful. Word misused so many times, I don't even know the true meaning of it anymore. See, we're taught from childhood that black ain't beautiful, because Snow White's the only one who could eat an apple and find herself a prince. So now you got little black girls running around trying to find their prince, but you ain't never gonna find it because you just a black bitch, and don't you forget that. See, black women don't deserve a man like that. No, you just get a hustler or a pimp. See, because daddy never sat him down, taught him how to be a prince, but mama sure did sit us down, teach us how to be a princess. The only apple we're being fed is being fed to us by society. This hatred going so deep inside of us, we're teaching other black women they ain't beautiful. Taking on the roles of slave and slave master and weaving to our own culture. So caught up on trying to figure out if you a house slave or a field slave, not realizing you're only a slave to this idealistic beauty you'll never be. Striving for white perfection, yet not realizing there's this black connection to our cultural complexion that everyone should so long to be. So the real question is, how long will us colored girls go on without seeing that beauty is we? So this one right here is for the colored girls, for the ones that wanted their hair to be long and blonde and their eyes to be blue. This one right here is for you. This is for the ones that wanted to be a Disney princess but never fit the casting call. For the ones that bleached their skin and avoided the sun, this one right here is for you. This one's for the girls with the long weaves and the short kinks, with the skin cocoa brown or as light as can be. This one's for the Negro woman. Take that mirror you have so proudly mounted on the wall down, for it has been poisoned by the fruit of ignorance and hatred. Call Eve up, ask her for the fruit of knowledge, and bake it into a pie so finally all your colored girls can see that black beauty was meant to be. This one right here is for the colored girls who worked in the field with a child on their back, who marched with the fist held high and a child on their hip. This one right here is for you. This one's for the colored girls who didn't want to cut their skin but wanted to cut it off. This one right here is for you. This one's for all my colored girls, because there will never, ever be a day where black ain't beautiful. Give it up for Sakai Edwards.
Judges, hold up your scores. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from low to high, a 7.5, an 8.1, an 8.5, an 8.9, and a 9.3 for Sekai Edwards. And keep the excitement going for Sage Smiley. Applaud her all the way up to the stage.
It's really bright. To write a haiku for those souls who have led me would be impossible. Impossible. O leader, my captain, our fearful trip is done. We have weathered every rack, and the prize we sought is won. And it sure took some weathering, some beatings, and some blows till we had bruises on our forearms, our torsos, and our toes. But you pulled me out of anything and everything, no matter how hard I fell, how far out or deep in I was. O captain, my captain, what would I do? What would we do without the leaders, pillars, heroes, mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters, and teachers and preachers and friend-os? The professional athlete, the professional origami folder. When we were little, let's be real, it was anybody older. We looked up to them, literally and physically, with awe and admiration, because they were the great ones, the tall ones, the strong ones, and always, always we wanted to be like them. There are some that say that they succeeded on their own, that they made it because they lifted weights, or because they were just naturally inclined to be stronger, or better, or smarter, or happier. But that the beating was theirs, and the prize was too. Please, give credit where credit is due. I say, who helped you through all of your struggles? Who helped you form your dreams? Who patched your bleeding knees with Band-Aids and your bleeding heart with love? Found your missing puzzle piece, found your missing glove? Who told you that even though you run like an ostrich, you can be the next great basketball star? Who? They did. All our lives, they captained us through rough and stormy seas, and rough and stormy places, and rough and stormy people, and rough and stormy times. They were always there, the captains, the unsung heroes. The leaders, the captains in our lives make the warriors into warriors, the small things great. They changed my journey and they changed my fate. So I raise my glass to you, O captain, doff my hat to you, O captain, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, my teacher, my preacher, my friend. Because you gave me light, you changed my life, you banished wrong when I needed right. I want to be like you, to see like you, to help other people in need like you, because you were and always are my captain.
Give it up for Sage Smiley. Judges, hold them up. 1, score 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 6.0. A 6.9, a 7.2, a 7.4, and an 8.5. Applaud the poet. And a loud round of applause and welcome up to the stage, Zoe Senner.
I'm Zoe Senner, and this is what is tattooed on me with invisible ink. I've got expectations tattooed all over my body by a relentless society. If I lifted my shirt, I could show you the tattoo that runs right around my waist. I could show you the ones on my breasts. They come with a warning label. This chest must be sexualized at all times. I could show you the ink on my chest. It only runs skin deep, and all it says is flat-chested nothingness, followed by P.S. To clarify, that means that these breasts must be chastised because the only value they've got is sexual, and bigger is better here in the U.S. I tried to tattoo feminist across my heart, but I accidentally tattooed a target on my back and the word, the slur, feminazi right across my forehead. I've had the word victim tattooed in between my legs since the night I was born, and society labeled me woman without asking my consent. I've got the word fighter in permanent ink between my shoulder blades because a fighter is what you've got to learn to be a woman in this country. A fighter is what you've got to be to survive if you're gonna be queer in this country. And I've got this tattoo that only has 2 words, but it's in various places all over my body, and it's screaming for attention 24/7, shave me. Shave me, shave me, shave me, shave me. And no one ever tells a fox to shave its fur because it's an animal, and I'm an animal too, but I can't look like one and I can't act like one because I was born with instruction manual tattoos across my toes. They warn me about the consequences I will face if I do anything with my body that doesn't conform to our male-dominated society, if I do anything except unquestioningly and obediently accept the expectations, labels, and identities tattooed on me with invisible ink. Thank you.
Give it up for Zoe Center. Judges, we have 1 score, 2 score, 3 scores, 4 and 5 scores from low to high. We have a 7.7, a 7.7, an 8.3, an 8.9, and a 9.2. And please keep that applause going and bring forth, is it Jillian or Gillian? Gillian Bergman.
It's actually Jillian, but yeah. Okay, this is Sapphire Eyes. The little girl dreams. She dreams of cupping the moon in her palms, of drinking a river, swallowing an ocean. She dreams of roaming the night under the Milky Way, never having to see the sunrise until she's caught all the stars into her sapphire eyes. And then she dreams of the breaking of gentle hearts, like pulling off flower petals. He loves me not. She dreams of having to fly in torrential hurricanes, trapped in endless mazes where minotaurs lurk, drowning in a red sea of blood and ink, seeing strangers where friends once stood. But these nightmares do not dim her flaming soul. She is just a simple little girl who loves the images of moonbeams. But when those sapphire eyes open, the little girl inhabits only the heart, not the face. The young woman she has become fills her mind with facts, philosophies, faces. The light irises have turned indigo, her soul reshaped to fit her place, stumbling among masses of strangers, waging war on the soil they step upon, with a new, delicate, bubbled sensuality and a crude humor to hide it, to mask the passion wrapped in a red, pumping rosebud cardiac muscle. This young, misunderstood woman is a little lost, wandering a no man's land with no home to return to. But under that, little Sapphire Eyes is bursting through the seams. She is a wise owl child, having learned the tricks to society's game. No one realizes how brightly she shines through the mask of her grown counterpart, how brilliantly she plays. And even if the young woman cracks, surrounded by waking nightmares, young Sapphire Eyes holds her battleground, putting the pieces back together, the strength of youth
youth in her mighty, petite fists, strong and defiant as only a child can be. Because she sees the electricity of life, the hope behind the gloom. She is fascinated by the mechanics of the tree, bird, and star, the engineering of the human mentality. She is not just a simple girl. She is invincible. She is untamed. She is at home in her own soul. She has caught all the stars into her sapphire eyes. Thank you.
Round of applause for Jillian. Judges. We have one score. 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 5.5, a 6.2, a 6.6, a 6.8, and an 8.6. Applaud the poet. And please keep that applause going and welcome to the stage, Olivia Wilk.
Hi, my name's Olivia, and this poem is called Wasted. You told me you were sick of my thoughts, of endless warnings, of repeated caveats, but I have not forgotten who you used to be. You see, of course, I cannot help but question your inherent reaction to embrace a life of such corruption and deception, clutching a weapon in your hand with such vehement rage. I remember how you used to hold flowers, how you used to turn pages of books. But look, I'm obviously inclined to try to help you find a peace of mind, yet despite my effort, you still dwell in the pressure. So I extend my hand, but you don't get up. It's like your mind's too sore to feel any love just because you break laws, just because you stand tall, just because you used to break the fall. Your visualization is weakened and your humanity is sinking, swallowed by this abyss of a criminal identity, rummaging through the chaos for just a piece, just a sliver of serenity. It's as if you shuffled the deck of fate, the signs and omens you construed. It's your irrational interpretation. That's what's leading me so confused. Let me tell you, this is such severe self-hatred. How could you sell and steal from these young kids? You dove into a world so many try to escape from. What's the justification? Why? How come these scars line your arms like surreal indentations? A reminder for the future of your lack of motivation. It's persuading you with temptation. This idea of living for the lethal you once felt so powerful and now are so feeble. And if it's emotion, if that's all you're trying to conceal, well, let me tell you, apathy is a tragedy when it's a wound you can't heal. And listen, I'm not trying to say that no one should ever do this. A lot of talented people fooled around with stimulants, but this is a fact. You are not Kerouac. This was no rendezvous with a drug or two. This was goodbye to your community. Farewell, friend. Adieu. And in lieu of trying to analyze every way that this scarred me, I tried to think objectively, but the words still flow incessantly. The manifestation of criminal dedication, a bright man lost in the perils of our civilization. And I think I've already stated, the situation was not given. It's the world you created. Thank you.
Olivia Wilk. Judges. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 6.8, a 7.2, a 7.4, a 7.7, and an 8.7 for Olivia Wilk. Applaud the poet. We have 10 more poets in the first round. You guys are doing fantastic. A round of applause for yourselves, audience. And keep the excitement going, and please welcome to the stage, is it Sherilyn Brown? Sherilyn Brown.
Hi, my name is Sherilyn, and my poem is called In the Great Terror. Children screaming and crying, their mothers bleeding and dying. Children from these broken homes are left with nowhere else to call their own. All hope is lost. I'm living in the Great Terror as they light the world on fire and watch it turn as it slowly burns. Children crying out to their mothers, their tears are hollow as no reply follows. Miss Sorrow cuddles them close to calm their sorrows. For them, she sadly knows there is no tomorrow. All hope is lost. You create this place of war and greed. The only ones to blame are you and me. She's living in the Great Terror. The towers fall and the bombs blare through the rocket's red glare. A lone hand reaching out the flames, eyes pleading. All hope is lost. A hero falls as his wife picks up the phone to a most terrible call. I'm sorry, ma'am. All hope is lost. He gave his life to the great cause. He's living in the Great Terror. He runs and runs as fast as he can. The taste of victory is in the air. As the bombs drop, all he can do is stare. All hope is lost. Flames look at his heels as another siren blares through the air. The earth shook and little old me woke up to see. I'm living in the Great Terror where children scream and their mothers die. She's living in the Great Terror where heroes bleed, crumble, and fall. He's living in the Great Terror where sirens blare and flames permeate the air. Every day I look around me and see we live in the age of the Great Terror. They light the world on fire and watch it turn while we turn our backs as it slowly crackles and burns. Thank you.
Round of applause for Sherilyn Brown. Judges, scores. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from low to high. A 5.1, a 6.6, a 7.0, a 7.2, and an 8.1 for Sherilyn Brown. Applaud the poet. And please welcome to the stage, Sydney Oliver.
Okay, so this is for my grandmother. She died this August, so this is for her. What can I say? That she has no words left, that I live on without hers, but sometimes there's just too much left unsaid, and you know, I kind of want to keep it that way. There are so many things I could have asked her, so many things she could have told me, but that just cemented the fact. She laid it down in stone, the words on her grave. She lived to be 69, and I smile whenever I think about it because I know she would have smiled too. And whenever I tell my friends, they don't know whether to laugh or pat me on the shoulder, and that makes my smile get this much closer to my eyes. The eyes that used to have tears in them, encasing each droplet in a handkerchief that used to be hers. And I'm at war with my tear ducts because I know she wouldn't have wanted it that way because she was happy now. So shouldn't I be happy for her? So I feel guilt trapped behind the lump in my throat, behind the backs of my eyes, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I never gave away those rubber ducks and cap and gowns at my 8th grade graduation. I'm sorry she won't see me in mine. I'm sorry for all the times I called her a princess, for whenever she was over, for whenever I wished she was gone. I got my wish, and now I feel like I'm borrowing her belongings, old boxes stacked up like walls, enclosing me in a sense of denial, expecting my phone to ring any second, her harsh East Coast accent demanding her stuff back. They enclose me in my sanctuary of ignorance because somehow I can't imagine a world where she doesn't sleep in my bed every summer when she comes over for my birthday. She was there for 15 of them, but somehow now it doesn't seem long enough. Sometimes I lay on my bed, sprawled haphazardly, trying to remember what she smells like to get her back, that she won't send me any more pajamas every Christmas or any more calendars counting down the days until then. I tried not to count when I was with her, but it was like an internal clock, and its persistent ticking kept me awake. It was hard being in her house, knowing that we would leave it about when she did, her house that smelled of old typewriters and cigarettes, old puzzles hung up on the walls, and shelves of books. A love of reading is something we shared. That and left-handedness, which she always said was a mark of genius. One of her other trademarks? To die for. She got her wish, too. And whenever you mentioned her, people would laugh or smile, always had something good to say about her. But if you got on her bad side, you would know, because she threatened you with your full name, stressing it, pushing upon it, you were absolutely sure it would snap into a billion pieces. But it never did. The last days were the hardest, plastering a smile on my face because she had forgotten how to, blinking back the tears that always threatened to come out whenever I remembered how she used to be, remembered she was weakening, remembered she was damaged, a damage that nobody could fix. And my box, my sanctuary was getting smaller. I was getting claustrophobic and I couldn't breathe, but it was crucial that I did. Because as her breaths were numbered, I saved mine. I held them in my palm close to my heart, hoping that I could share them, that somehow I could fight off the invisible things weakening her. I imagined it as a war, and she was never the person to surrender, but I put up my white flag, that handkerchief stained with ignorant tears, and so I'm forced to acknowledge. It hurts to remember, but I know it's better to remember than to forget. Thank you.
Give it up for Sydney. Judges, hold them up high. We have one score. Two, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.9. An 8.2, an 8.4, an 8.9, and a 9.1. What did you think about the poem? Fantastic. And please welcome to the stage, Jess Faunt.
This is called target practice. Growing up, I spent too much time listening to poop jokes and playing backyard baseball to have an interest in painting my nails. When I was 8, I shortened my name just like my older brother because it was after him that I modeled my life. I guess that's maybe why I was so offended when little Timmy accused me of throwing like a girl on the playground. To me, he was saying that I was failing at becoming who I wanted to be, a bar set just out of my reach, even when I stood on the tips of my toes. I could see the patronization in the creases around his smile, and it was clear to me that in his eyes, I was unequal, permanently subordinate to someone just because they had a penis and an arm that could throw a ball in a different way. I am 11 years old. My dad asked my brother to bring in a box from the back of the car, but before he can respond, I run to the door offering my help instead. He says, "It is too heavy for me." But when I look at myself, I see someone who is the same height as her twin brother, who has played the same sports and eaten the same serving of vegetables since we came out of the womb. I tell him I can carry it. I am 15 years old. I have found my first high school crush. He flirts by making sexist jokes, most of them taking place in the kitchen. But if he thinks I'm going to make him a sandwich, the joke is on him because I can barely make a nacho without scalding the cheese. I boxed away these stereotypes like clothes that never hung right on my identity. Girls will be girls and boys will be boys. We use these statements to bring clarity and justification to each other's actions, but in it I only see obscurity, like a cloud that blocks the sun from shining its truest light. I keep throwing and aiming, trying to hit the target that defines who I am, but the more I keep trying to throw like a man, the farther from center I get. I long for the day where I do not have to act like a man in order to have a voice of authority, where my opinions about society matter more than my opinions about what shoes to wear to the next dance. Yes, I like heels, dolls, and earrings, but I also spend my summers climbing trees, tracing the land with the tires of a dirt bike, and I find war paint far more useful than makeup. I dare you to label that. I dare you to name that man, woman, boy, or girl, but I apologize in advance for not listening to you because you cannot encapsulate this in one word. I am 18 years old. I hide under the dark skies, and I hear two boys calling for me from behind a snowbank. They throw snowballs at the others, and they urge me to join them. I tell them I cannot throw that far, but they disregard this claim with a rush of a hand. I begin to hurl snowballs with as much force and aim as I can muster, and although I may not flick my wrist in the same way, my shots blend in with the quarterback crouching low next to me. I am worthy, I am useful, I am equal, yet I am not a boy.
Round of applause for Jess Faunt. Judges, what do you have for the poem? 1 score. 2 score. 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.9, an 8.3, an 8.4, a 9.0, and a 9.0 for Jess. And keep that applause going, and welcome to the stage, Phoenix. Please welcome all the way up to the stage.
Whew. I need to relax. All right. All right, so this poem is called Little Lion Boy, and it's about me and my mom. I remember sitting on the floor in front of the couch, your legs on either side of me, for 2.5 hours straight, while your hands worked magic on my scalp, taming the unruly beast. When you'd finished, it was magnificent. Back then, the twists just nestled the tops of my ears, but I shook them and shook them because I could, because I loved it, because you did too. The light dancing in your eyes told me so. My baby lion's mane. But now the mane grows longer and longer every day without you. When the wind blows just right, I'm blinded. Turn my head to the left, 80% of my vision is eradicated. Getting food in my hair, and vice versa, has become a much more prevalent problem. But it's all without you. So now, I'm roaring. There's an angry child and a burning cathedral in my chest, and I am roaring. Roaring for every bitch, every nigger, every whore. Roaring for every leather strap across my back, every hand across my face. Roaring because of the hate you spewed at me as a consequence of me being me. Roaring for the scars that spread down my arms like a plague without your concern. Roaring for the nights I spent in my closet crying with clothes hanging all around me, pretending they were friends. Roaring for runaways, for foster kids, for no-show court dates, for nightmares and insomnia, for depression and suicide. Roaring because of the terminal data corruption eating up my hard drive. And I am roaring because the cathedral is collapsing and the angry child is burning. The child, the boy, me. I am roaring and burning in this collapsing cathedral without you.
Give it up for Phoenix! Judges, what do we have for that poem? Hold them up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have a 7.3, a 7.9, a 7.9, an 8.8, and a 9.0 for Phoenix. Applaud the poet. And please welcome to the stage, Megan Kinder.
I'm Megan Kender, and my poem is called This Is War. We have come to know of our bodies as battlegrounds, trenches dug out of our stomachs shattered with freckles shaped like bullet holes wielding machine guns at our own heartbeats. They pay a lot of money for us to treat ourselves like this, fund our self-loathing in exchange for bottomless pocketbooks, a war of terror and body dysmorphia bathed in figures higher than your mother makes in 5 years. They watch our hands shake while the mirror spits in our faces. At age 16, blood pumping red, white, and blue, I am the perfect soldier to fight their war. Deemed female by boxes checked off at birth, a pink, it's a girl balloon, floating in the hospital room like a contract, selling my body to those who can profit from it, and I learned, too young, what it meant to grow up in a place like this, that beauty was both the entry fee and the prize in a crownless competition staged by faceless CEOs and societal chains bound to the ankles of my grandmothers that my smile
meant more than my words, that my body did not belong to me, and that silence was the only poetry a girl should perform. But yet, I am here, and this is the poem they paid millions for me not to write. You're not the only one who's thrown out meals before, fragile hummingbird fingers quivering in your throat. You are not the only one with scars, pale claw marks snaking up your upper arms, ashamed to shed your snakeskin sweatshirt and let them know they got to you too. I bite my tongue when they call it self-harm because nobody would do this to themselves without being taught to. Well, this poem, it is my short sleeve t-shirt. Here are my battle scars. This poem is a reminder that your body has nothing to do with how beautiful you are. This poem is a promise to myself and a promise to you that we are so far from alone in this, because they want me to be pretty and quiet, to raise daughters who wear pink and hate themselves. But maybe I've spent too long being quiet. Maybe today I know better than to be quiet. Maybe I have stretch marks like lightning storms and acne like constellations, a stomach pale and round as the moon. But this is my body. And this body also has fists and vocal cords that know how to fight back. What they whisper in your ears is not the truth. This is the truth. Your being is the breathtaking result of billions of years of evolution. You are planets and stars, born from bouncing atoms, plasma in wombs, creation and love. We are human. We are beautiful. We are not dollar signs. In battlegrounds, there are electrons buzzing in your palms and stardust tucked behind your ear. Stay strong, because there may be a war to fight, but it is not against yourself. Thank you.
Give it up for Megan Kinder. Judges, what do you have for me? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.3, an 8.0, an 8.3, an 8.4, and a 9.2 for Megan. Applaud the poet. I'm not sure if I can make out this last name, but please welcome to the stage Emily Coker. All right. Welcome to the stage, Emily. Hands together. Applaud loudly.
My name is Emily Coker, and today I will be performing for you Ode to the Artists. I see you out there, O great imaginers, your eyes filled with the spark of imagination, fingers twitching, feet itching, and a mind that's ready to spin the silk of wonder. We see art every day. Some of us see it, but others do not realize it's everywhere. For every single step is a recital, one hum a symphony, each doodle a masterpiece, and every word a sonnet. I bow to you, dancers. You let your restless legs and fidgety feet express your spirit in a silent but powerful way. Ballet, to tell us stories of love, life, and death. Tap, to release our jolly mood and give it to those on the street. Ballroom duets to convey our romantic dreams with romantic waltzes and sexy cha-chas. Hip-hop, to move our bodies to the beat, to break all rules and say, yes, I can do that, because I'm just that cool. I applaud to you, musicians and singers. You turn our quiet drone into a symphony of sound. Violin, piano, drum, trumpet, or voice, you have an arsenal to combat our boredom that lingers all around. Pressing the keys to Debussy, pounding to a percussionist beat, messages sung about us against the world, and a band that takes us to a place where streets have no names. An orchestra that plays exhilarating concertos, all chords, the heart of life. I throw a rose to you, material artists, who illustrate the greatest sights of life and in the mind. Give birth to a face with a few scratches of a simple pencil and a landscape with the vicious strokes of a brush with vibrant paint. Turn a blank canvas into a montage of color and shape. You turn a lump of clay and scraps of metal
into a beautiful human or abstract figure. You give us all a look into the limbo of the mind, the wonders of the world, and the reality of soup cans. I raise my pen to you, writers, for creating worlds with words that take us away from life's simplicity to realms of swashbucklers and shining knights, sharing the reality of reality and the stories of fighters, all in the forms of stories, poems, and plays, painting images in our minds that will last for centuries and make the world illuminate brighter. But remember this, my artistic comrades, for though we are tarnished by the media, cut by budgets, censored by governments, all I remember is to raise your pens and brushes, throw your slippers, and sing the song of angry artists. For nothing can dull the spark of imagination, for it is eternal and can never die.
Emily Coker, judges, what do we have? We have 1 score, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from low to high, a 5.1, a 6.4, a 6.7, a 7.4, and an 8.3 for Emily. Applaud the poet. And let's see if I can get this. Is it Rakia? Rakia Perry, please welcome to the stage.
My name is Rakia Perry, and I'll be performing a poem called Society. People killing and innocent people dying. My eyes are hurting from all this crying. People blame all these situations on society, but trust me, it's a variety. Who are the ones making society grow? From all the drugs to the gang banging, to the people in the jail cells still slanging? We are making society grow. From all the stealing to the bad boy or girl look, we are making society grow. From all the weed to the bottles of Hennessy, we are making society grow. When I look at our generation today, I'm left with nothing to say. When I hear and look at the way people used to play back in the day, I think, dang, I wish we can be them one day. I know I'm too young to stand up. I know my mind is older, my heart stays closed. Now, I don't want to give my little brother the idea of not being the best he can be and follow some young cat like some sort of flea. Brothers and sisters, I know I'm not the only one. We are fit into this one category instead of being just one. We are making society grow. Brothers and sisters, it's our turn to shine. Don't just keep going with the flow and let this bad society grow. Because when one person has stopped, it starts getting smaller by the minute. And once everybody does, all you hear is crickets. Let's make this bad society stop. Thank you.
Judges, what do we have? Faster, 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 faster. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, a 6.9, a 7.6, a 7.8, a 7.8, and a 7.9 for Rakia Perry. But applaud the poet. And please welcome up, is it Alexandra Hull? Alexandra Hull.
Hi guys, my poem is called Certain. When I was little, my mama would sing to me. They were songs of certainty that she was certain would soothe me to sleep so that I could dream the things that 5-year-olds dreamed without worrying about tomorrow. These girls these days, though, they're draining their dreams down the sinks below mirrors that scream clearer than anything that they are not worth it today. These girls miss the yesterdays, the ones that they had wished had stayed, the ones that they want to live over and over again because yesterday they felt worth it. Yesterday they felt perfect, and yesterday they were certain of themselves. But tomorrow they know that society will count their scars as if scores, tally marks demonstrating what their young hearts have stood in. Society keeps telling us that our past doesn't define us, that yesterday didn't matter, tomorrow will be fine, trust me, sweetheart, you'll be okay, but the tendencies of these young ladies are showing. The numbers of their scars are growing, and their halos have stopped glowing because reaching for the stars is getting harder because all they do is get farther away. Just like our yesterdays, these stars are pointless. Just like our tomorrows, these scars are relentless, and today is dentless because no matter how big our boots are, how solid our fists are, or how hard our hits are, beating down this door is useless because of the brick wall on the other side, because it's thicker than the atmosphere between us and our stars, and it's deeper than the marks that rest upon our arms. So I'm here to say that the wall resting behind that door is fine, that your past does define you, but only in strengths, and that your scars are symbols of how much you can take, and that no matter your scars, you, darling, are safe and beautiful and lovely. Yesterday, I was certain that today you'd be perfect and tomorrow you'll be worth it because you're worth all of the stars in the sky to me. And tonight when I sleep, I'll find a ladder to the highest point of the sky, and I will find you the perfect star, the very best that'll put that blade to rest so that you can sleep and so that you can dream the things that us teenagers should dream about if we didn't have to worry about tomorrow.
Alexandra Hull. 7.3, a 7.5, a 7.9, and an 8.0. Applaud the poet. We're down to our last two poets of the first round. Please welcome to the stage, Theo Wynn.
Gears in my head, gears in my head, gears in my head, a clockwork soul ruling over my feet, and it's wonderful. I dance to a rhythm, my gears switch around from a boom boom tap to a unta unta untata, and it's wonderful. I dance, finding new passions, new loves, walking to the beat of a David Brubeck song. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and it's wonderful. I'm in a constant blitz, changing time signatures, changing tempo. I change flow and leave a memento of my past for you, hoping that someone will join me. Because when you're a new man every day, it can get awful lonely. I always preferred to escape the mundane, and in the end, it is a gift, but it comes with some pain. Because when you run as fast as I do, falling hurts. And when you turn as much as I do, falling hurts. And when you live like I do, you will fall, you will fall, you will fall, and it will hurt. But still I chase that love song. Because no matter how I stand, no matter how I dance, my heart dances in 2/4 swing. And it goes boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, and it plays my half of the love song, waiting, waiting, waiting for someone to join in, join in, join in. Thank you.
Give it up for Theo Wynn. Judges, what do we have? We have one score. 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 6.0, a 7.5, a 7.8, an 8.0, and an 8.1 for Theo Wynn. Please applaud the poet. And give it up for the last poet in the first round. Is it Micah Fletcher? Micah Fletcher.
I have watched men and women take their skin with scissors and cut it down the middle, pulling it apart like a bad Halloween mask. I have watched men and women sit there and paint themselves the color of whatever they want to be because they believed that a tattoo that they were born with all over would stop them from being whatever they believed was growing in that beautiful gut. I have watched men and women shatter mirrors and take the shards and cut it open, watching their wrists as a glass shard travels 28 centimeters across somebody's wrist just to find that is the end of the journey. All I have to say to you, and I mean you, is I am so sorry. Stop me if you've heard this one before. There are some days where you can barely lift your wings. They are heavy and cold, wet with the teardrops that fall from that obscene fiery ball in the sky. And there are other days where your veins are full of kerosene, fingers flicking open and closed because they are Zippos, and your lungs are billows blowing into a furnace where a heart should be. A burning cathedral, born on a Monday in a one-way alley where 3 men brutalized me at the age of 7. I knew what cement tasted like. And there are other days where you feel empty. The fires burn out. Your wings dry and you are left to curl up into a ball and let your outer carapace camouflage you mountaintop, cool and hard and empty, as if the blue pills I take in the morning full of amphetamines were instead black holes and capsules sucking the emotions inside of me by their tassels till I am left undecorated. A house made homeless, save its roof and front door. There's another thing that I've met both men and women who have suffered from. Men and women who are called whores. Houses with shattered windows and crooked panes, with cracked ceilings and faded stains. Their victimizers blame these pains on the colors of their welcome mats or on the signs on the front door that read, "I am warm, so you can call me home." I know that being jumped and being raped are not the same thing, despite both sometimes being blamed on the way that we dress. But why is it that in some situations I am called a victim and he or she, society, has the audacity to call just some broken home that should have known better than to be built in such a bad neighborhood? Are we that fucking blind? Are we stricken with guilty? Or do we just sew our eyes shut because we're too scared to admit that we don't know how to stitch bed sheets back together when they've been ripped from the seams? It seems we don't know anymore. I mean, after all, where does prevention stop and where does protection begin?
Micah, Fletcher. Judges. Hold them up high. We have 1 score. We have 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have an 8.0, an 8.4, a 9.0, a 9.6, and a 10. We're going to take a 10-minute intermission. Elias and Atai are going to come up here. Please take this moment to visit the bathroom, step outside, take a moment. Please be back in your seats at 7:35. The 15 folks moving on into the next round will be, and not in this order, I'm going to read these off, dump them into the fishbowl, and then we'll proceed like the first round, drawing at random. So we have Ke'Shayla Brown, Sydney Oliver, Jess Faunt, Phoenix Adagio, Sekai Edwards, Janet Webster, Zoe Sinner, Ariana Jacobs, Megan Kinder, Micah Fletcher, May O'Neill, Kelsey Turner, Lauren Steele, Joe Cullen, and Gus Coates. Before we proceed, please, a huge round of applause for all the poets in the first round. You folks did an incredible job. And let's jump right into this with Sekai Edwards. Please, a round of applause and welcome back to the stage, Sekai.
This woman came to our school, told us we were going to write a story of how our ancestors came to America. The girl next to me raised her hand, said that her great-great-great-great-grandparents came over when there weren't enough potatoes in Ireland, or maybe that was Poland. I honestly can't remember because I was trying to think of something my parents had told me, but nothing drifted through my mind. No bedtime story even resembled what could have been mistaken for my ancestors' story. No triumphant tale of them crossing the borders or escaping the hands of their oppressors. No, the only story I was told, the only story I could remember was the truth, not the sugar-coated lies we call our history textbooks. And my ancestors were brought over, chained to boats, watched as they were stripped of their independence, brought to America, the land of the free, but captive in its own ignorance and hatred. The only story I had was written into the backs of slaves from the burning heat and the lashes they received. The only story I had was woven into quilts because my story was never written down. Your take on my story, maybe, but never my story. But I searched and I searched, but my name was never found because Edward was no name taken by free will, no name that we carried with pride. It was a name that was forced onto us, like the history we all came to believe, and the chains leaving lasting marks like the lashes that scarred our backs and eventually our soul. No picture of our family's name as we crossed over an island with triumphant glory smeared across our face and hopefulness glowing from our eyes. No, our name was only written down next to a price. Never dreamed of coming to this country, only dreamed of escaping in it as the sun kissed our scarred backs, picking the cotton that pricked our fingers, our blood running into a stream, pooling into what became my history and my story. And from it I searched for my ancestors' history, but as the other kids brought in more and more, I had nothing because 3 panels of drawing wasn't enough to show my story, because 3 panels of drawing isn't enough to show 450 years worth of tear-soaked shirts of the women that watched their children priced and sold. 3 panels of drawing isn't enough to show 450 years worth of torn backs and scarred souls, not enough to show 450 years and 450,000 people that are my history, that are my story. So I started to believe that I had gotten something wrong. I started to feed into the ignorance that was being spewed into the air that we call our educational system. But slowly regaining myself, I realized what I had. I had the story of lost names, traditions, and soul. I took out 3 panels, I laid them in front of me, and across it I painted, "They took my story from me."
Sekai Edwards. Judges, what do we have for that poem? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.0, an 8.4, an 8.4, an 8.7, and a 9.1. Applaud the poet. And if you were on your phone at intermission, don't forget to turn it back off. Please welcome back up to the stage, Gus Coates.
Stuck. There we go. We all want to live in a world where people untangle their fears from their values before they pass them on so that their children might know which to live by and which to overcome. But my generation is only the most recent to again not know the difference. We're trying to figure it out, but it seems like many before us never did. Instead, worldly powers seem to belong to those without the wisdom to decline them, huddled in the shadows of statues, their pit bull dogma, leashed with latitude on choke-chain political borders, gambling for the blood of the world with the hides of its children. Papa needs a new pair of shoes. Mama heeds a hue, wears a bruise. Men who strike the other cheek if they don't have to watch themselves do it. Speak loftily and carry a big stigma. Men who spit out their pride and swallow instead their strawberry rhubarb piety, who are not lions, despite their roaring counsel. Enough of us have seen brighter days abound, and I know staring at the sun can't ensure it stays around any longer tomorrow. So we spend our halcyon days like kids on Easter, enjoying the sweets we don't ask for, believing only in the loud and useless miracle of rabbits' eggs pooped just for us. Sure, I had my one-night stand with corporate America, and she was good to me, but I couldn't repay her love on margin. So we settled for these trading card opinions, picked up our feet and stuck out our elbows in the trench warfare of politics. But we are no red states or blue states, but bruised by our brashness. What is a nation but 50 Shades of Purple? A shitty book we tear ourselves out from in anger, asking, who's really spineless here? But we're on the same illegible page more often than you think. So how often do you really think? And here tomorrow, here in the in-between, the twilight zone, a dimension of unsightly and unsound mind, gray matter meets gray area. It's a hunt for wholeness. Holy light, holy darkness, holy shit, we just want to know what we are. And we'd all like to be the good, but we'd settle for the bad or the ugly, just not the extra, not the walk on the doormat. We've got to be the main character in our own story. Hero or anti-hero, I just need to make sense, or no I don't. Get better at knowing what to do, or if I can't, know so and own it and live it as some man on fire. A can of whoop-ass sans bubblegum, elbow-greased lightning, a straitjacket, libido bursting at the seams, waking up every morning, celebrating being alive like Teddy Roosevelt on birthday amphetamines and plain oatmeal, straddling antlered overdrive from shore to shore, birth to death. But I forget my limits, and I'm reaching from the floor. In this hunt for wholeness, no stone is left unturned, no groan is left unearned, and in the end, or even all along the way, we're afraid to know that wholeness is impossible at best and imperative at worst, trying to forget that when Eeyore finds his tail, it's always smaller than he remembers. Nobody wants to say that maybe the phantom limb was stronger. Maybe the world isn't okay. Maybe the world can't be okay, shouldn't be. You cannot make up for disasters. Calamity demands grief, and life demands repair, as if little Beauty was a lost child raised by scarcity. Lives away from mother who wakes up still dreaming of knowing her daughter, still feeling like art, while everybody else gossips in the kitchen, afraid to know that they were the village it would have taken. Afraid to know that there's only an elephant in this room because there are mice in all the other ones, little flecks of white guilt with red eyes, gnawing feebly on chains, and we don't talk about them either. Justice is a satellite dish best served on daytime TV when you have a cold. But the notion that we could replace something, that mousetraps and Judge Judy or anything could undo any fuck-up's namesake, betrays the scarcity of our breath. I don't know what mania is for, but I think we could use some more of it. Thank you.
Up for Gus Coates. Judges. Judges, I'm going to ask you to work a little bit faster in this second half, so please make these quick decisions and hold them up high. I have 1 score, 2 score, 3, 4, and 5. Starting from low to high, we have a 6.0, a 7.6, an 8.0, an 8.9, and a 9.2. Dan, do you need me to read those ones again? Could you hold them back up? We have a 6.0, a 7.6, an 8.0, an 8.9, and a 9.2. For Gus Coates, applaud the poet. And coming back up to the stage, Megan Kinder.
I'm Megan Kinder, and this poem is Forgotten. We are all trying to leave our fingerprints wherever possible, spend our lives praying to our gods or playing gods so that we won't be forgotten when our bodies dissolve, so that crocheted piles of finger bones and rib cages buried 6 feet deep won't be the only thing we leave behind. Us poets are desperate when it comes to this. We turn a wandering blind eye to the term temporary, refusing to believe that there is such a thing. We immortalize ourselves, our lovers, our fathers, our bedrooms, all in a spider's handwriting, and tell ourselves how important we are. If you have ever known me, you have left your fingerprints here. My body has turned into a ticking clock, gears breathing heavy with the occupation of keeping time and preserving the existence of your eyelashes and ceiling fan and the way your hands look at 2 a.m. beneath April street lamps. If you have ever known me, you are not forgotten. You have been eternalized in the frantic self-importance that clings to the back of all poets. You will appear in my pages someday like sea glass, lost and destroyed, beautiful, washed up on some white beach somewhere, far away from everything that ever hurt you. You will live inside a jaded stanza, like a moth trapped in amber, finally illuminated by the light you always hoped for. When I am gone and you are gone, you will go on here. Fingerprints live on a statue, circulation perpetuated by alphabet lungs, because the poet is the true writer of history, clinging to the wrists of those whose voice forgot how to make any sound. Here is your story. Blue-haired girl who saw ghosts in the shape of her father's tongue. Boy with piano key fingers who was tired of remembering his name. Woman who raised 3 kids alone, none of whom were grateful. Child with chattering teeth who tried to erase her fingerprints by filling her intestines with bleach. I fill my chest cavity with your faces, absorb everything you've ever said into my palms. The lines creasing my hands, they overflow with everything you've ever been through. They tremble when I write it all down, knowing that I am trying to preserve things that are so fragile, knowing that your legacy rests in my wrists. This is the poet's burden. I don't want us to be forgotten. I don't want to forget lying on her bedroom floor, one light bulb out, freckled cheek melting into my chest like the holiest of candle wax, or freshman year when I lost him as he claimed to have seen God in the school bathrooms and started spending his nights beside park bench skeletons, or the cigarettes and sleeping pills she placed onto her sharp tongue with a knowing smile to distance herself from the fear of being alive. These are all stories that deserve to be told, so I wrap you in tongue, deliver you here desperately by means of vocal vibrations and microphone spit. Our fingerprints, they cover this room now, in the shoulder blades of everyone who hears this, the voice of just another poet playing God so that we won't be forgotten. Thank you.
Give it up for Megan Kinder. And judges, let's see what you got in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we have 1 score, 2 score, 3 score, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.9, an 8.1, an 8.4, a 9.1, and a 9.3 for Megan Kinder. Give it up for the poet. And keep that applause going, and welcome back up to the stage, Ke'Shayla Brown.
My name is Ke'Shayla Brown, and this is titled Kayla. If I could tell you that the moment you were born, I smiled. Wasn't even in the room, but felt it. You came into our lives like a light in a dark cave, like water in the desert. You were born with an intelligence that even you can't see. Huge, welcoming eyes that twinkle with trickery, a mouth that gets plenty of work, and hair brown like the dust that collects on pyramids. If I could, I'd tell you that I can see you now, sleeping on the edge of our mother's bed, worrying yourself to exhaustion. My name, a whisper on your lips, your mind going on rerun of every person you saved that day, and you don't even know how proud I am of you. If I could talk to you openly, just for a moment, I'd ask you why you find a need to fill the silence. Your continuous words create barriers and form hoops between you and learning, and you make up your own obstacle course. You don't know that. I pray that one day it's all easy for you when you can multiply equations like it's ice cream, gone before you know it. If I could summon the letters to form the words, I'd scream that I can see the light you bring to a room when you smile, that you are everything our home ever needed. And when you're gone, we sit in silence, can't think of any words to say, because you molded our world around you and burrowed the compass in your heart. So without you, we are lost. You are beautiful. If I could, I'd tell you, but if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. See, someone got there first, whispered their truth in your ear. I tried to drag them from your shoulder, but was too late. And they already taught their song to your eardrum. You began to beat the song of inadequacy to your brain, and now you believe it. That you are truly inadequate. You will never be inadequate. You lack nothing. You are a star, and not just one star. You are the star every other star attempts to shine as bright as. You are beautiful. If I have to, I'll whisper it to you every day for the rest of your life that you are beautiful. If I have to, I'll tell you this song in your ear every night as you sleep to rewrite the one they taught you. If I have to, I'll rewrite your whole story, pencil beautiful in between the bindings, and put a bright star on every page so you can find your way to the next one. If I have to, I'll read it to you every night. If I have to, I'll tell you this, even though it's hard to tell you this, that I want to be there when you turn 13, have a conversation about what it's like growing up. I want to tell you that it's not hard going to middle school and that high school is nothing to fear. And if they dare make it scary, tell them your big sister will be there. I want to know, will you miss me? Will you even know that I'm gone? Well, remember the times we cried together when I wrapped you in my arms in my bed when Mom was gone? Will you remember we'd have dance parties in your bedroom? Will you remember your big sister? And most of all, I want you to know, as well as I do, that you are beautiful.
Ke'Shayla Brown. Judges. Let's see what you got in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From low to high, we have an 8.2, an 8.3, an 8.3, a 9.0, and a 9.2 for Ke'Shayla. And keep that applause going, and welcome back up to the stage, Lauren Steele.
All right, this piece is called Right Skin. Sometimes I wish my skin was dark, smooth and cocoa brown, wish my hair would tighten in the slightest and lips be plush and round, 'cause light skin sits on a pedestal that is continuously too damn high. If you strip me of my color, what kind of good am I? Say they love my hair and skin. Long and light it stays. I want to ask, would you still love me if I deepened 5 or 6 shades? I feel trapped in this idolization. I am in no way proud to be this artificial beauty ignorant folk so long to see. Say, light skin is the right skin. I want to scream and cry. If you strip me of my color, what kind of good am I? I am not beautiful because of my pigment. To me, there is so much more. My skin, it holds no love and compassion. My beauty radiates from my core. I want to force upon you the beauty of a woman, the color of your ancestors. You will broaden your ideas of beauty, but I simply can't be the depictor. 'Cause light skin ain't really the right skin. And still I wonder what good am I? Ain't nothing but a half-breed with a rhyme scheme. Guess I'm black enough to try.
Lauren Steele. Judges, what have you got? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Taria's telling me that that's me. I just believe in you guys. I believe in you. We have from low to high a 7.9, an 8.5, an 8.8, an 8.9, and an 8.9. Applaud the poet. And welcome back up to the stage, Sydney Oliver.
Hi, I'm Sydney, and this poem is called Daughters. I never wanted to be the beginning of the end. I never wanted to be the first gunshot because they say that couples with kids are more likely to get divorced, but I am not a statistic. We are not a statistic. They say people change, but how do they change that much? I've always wondered how allies become enemies, and I still don't understand. They don't go together. My parents, the term sounds foreign on my tongue and it hurts the roof of my mouth, my silent mouth, because veterans never want to talk about war. I hear stories about why they grew apart, but I don't want to hear it. I can't imagine them in those lights. They rode off in the sunset once, and at the end of those movies, I always assumed there was just more sunset to ride into. Maybe they ran out of sunlight. There are shouts and accusations, allegations that I can't understand. I never understood. My older, wiser brother would try to stop the warfare before I could even form the word parents. They almost stopped for him. They finally understood the expression, can't live with them, can't live without them, and you can't have both, so they chose one. She kept his name so she wouldn't have to explain why. Maybe to have the same name as us. He doesn't want to talk about it, and I can tell who started it. His tone changes, and he tries not to be himself because that's what drove her away. And she tells me things I never wanted to know, what he said, what he did, and she says I pick sides. I love one more than the other, but we are the object in this tug of war, and I am tired. It's just the never-ending love of a daughter. I can't decide, and I hate getting accused of something that was never mine, but I am a neutral country in a dormant war that could flare up at any moment, and they are standing at the ends of the earth, and because they can't communicate, break out the artillery, and they can't hear me over the gunshots. Sometimes I think they have given up and become seasoned veterans, complete with the memories of the warfare, but without the benefits. They know how to handle things, but how can you make a routine of not loving? And I go through carefully watching potential step-parents, and this term isn't foreign to me, and it seems right to put them all in one category because they all amount to the same thing. And I always get angry and protective of these strangers because they will never be my parents. And though they tell me that's never what they want to be, they're taking what's mine. Doctors and grown-ups used to ask me how it affected me. I always thought my life is like any other kid's. Kids never asked me. They understood because some did have lives like mine. And now those grown-ups know I'm used to it, so they don't ask anymore. And I kind of miss it because now when I ask myself, I have an answer. I never wanted to be the beginning of the end. I never wanted to be the first gunshot because I am stuck in the crossfire, and I want to say, don't shoot the messenger, but it's too late for that. They are diplomatic generals, but we never wanted to be war prisoners. And she says I pick sides because when they hate, all I can do is love them back. But scars don't fade. Mine won't either. They will always be mine as a daughter to bear. I try to be diplomatic too, avoid the subject of war. I don't want to talk about the other. I don't want to be the messenger anymore because these casualties aren't mine. I don't want to bear the weight of their broken worlds on my shoulders. I just want the scars to fade. I never wanted to be the beginning of the end. I never wanted to be the first gunshot. Thank you.
Sydney Oliver. Judges, what do you have for them? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.5. A 7.9, an 8.9, a 9.0, and a 9.1 for Sydney Oliver. Applaud the poet. And please welcome back up to the stage, Micah Fletcher.
Time to commit a cardinal sin of poetry. Woo. My favorite part. The day the bomb dropped, I was at the market. The sun hung over Baghdad and cooked us like tuck in God's frying pan. I was boiling in my veil. From under my hijab, I watched cars creep like snails across dusty streets until a crack crossed the city with a friction too familiar for words. We all knew to duck down. For around 10 square blocks, you saw a sea of heads that shot down trying to avoid a bomb that was either inevitable or out of range. But it wasn't the sound of death measured in force multiplied by velocity that stopped me in my tracks. It was the sight of smoke pillowing over the place where my parents and home should be. And when the bomb dropped, I was walking to my home that lay just outside downtown Hiroshima. The sunshine called, so I rolled my pants and sleeves up so my skin could soak the sunlight, walking with my friend. When we finally caught the sound and sight of that B-29 bomber in the sky, it was already too late. In 2 seconds, we were engulfed in a light of the Judeo God's wrath. The ground shook, my ears rang, everything was burning. I can still hear the sound of my little brother Sinji buried under so much rubble screaming again. It's so hot in here. Big brother, please help me. And all I could do was sit there amongst corpses that skin had melted off like so much plastic. Just as the bomb exploded, it was nobody knows and what the hells echoed infinitely. Imagine a sea of scared Americans all sporadically spreading through Oklahoma City. Before me lay the ruins of a large office building that looked like some arrogant bastard had picked it from the Oklahoma City tree and taken a generous bite out of it. It looks that way because it is. But what that man didn't understand is that this apple is bleeding the bodies of mothers and fathers and children. Some of them are in pieces. In a very literal way, and in a time before Twin Towers and Muslims, and in a time before economic policies that back the hatred of random individuals, we witnessed one of our own topple stone and leave mountains of bodies, and in that moment, we would forever learn the meaning of fear. Here at home, we sat silent. Some of these bombs dropped before I was a twinkle in mother's eye. My people cheered as the charred skin of Japanese children melted away. We waved flags for fighter jets, leaving Iraqi children orphaned. When one of ours turned home into a tree trunk, yelling timber, we grieved and spoke no more. Yet, when 2 towering trees of wrought iron, glass, and cement are brought down to their knees, we let it leave an ugly footprint on America that hasn't disappeared in 12 years. 12, as in 1/3 the amount of civilians killed by drones in the Middle East per one terrorist caught in the crossfire. 12, as in double the amount of color-coded awareness states if you added one more that said, shut up and read a book, kid. You're thinking too much about a culture you don't understand. Because for a country who experiences less conflict than Libya, Uganda, Iraq, or even parts of Europe, we sure know how to grow animosity for societies who decide to join in our country's long-standing tradition of painting our hands with the blood of people we don't understand.
Micah Fletcher. Judges, raise those scores high. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. From low to high, we have a 7.7, a 9.0, a 9.3, a 9.3, and a 9.9 from Micah Fletcher. Applaud the poet. And keep that excitement going, and please welcome back up May O'Neill.
I'm cutting you off because you come and go, taking all of me each time, leaving nothing but hellos and treating me like a museum of things you threw away a long time ago. I have been spoon-feeding you my out-of-place love, hoping that you will grow up to be anything but a restless boy who is ignorant to how much other people love him. I'm cutting you off, I say to an empty room, hoping that somewhere my words cut into you like your silence has done to me, hoping that they rip open your ribcage and reveal something human, something real, so that I know what to let go of.
so I know what to let go of. Shoot. I have been part of this cult for too long, and praying to an invisible God has gotten me nowhere. Oh God, I forgot. I am a junkie to this feeling, addicted to the blues and grays of avoiding your eyes in the hall, obsessed with how you say my name and hooked to the thought of it lingering in your minds. I do not get high under the yellow city skyline. I shoot up in my pink wallpaper room alone, thinking of you and how you kill me every day, and how I've OD'd on watching you kiss another girl too many times. So I'm cutting you off.
Give it up for May O'Neill. Judges, let's see those scores in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have from low to high a 6.3, a 7.4, a 7.7, an 8.0, and an 8.4 for May O'Neill. Applaud the poet. And welcome to the stage, Jess Faunt.
This poem is titled Twinning. As far as dynamic duos go, you and I take the cake. Ever since you kicked me out of the womb, it has been evident that we were among the greats. Abbott and Costello, SpongeBob and Patrick, Salt and Pepper had nothing on the girl whose eyes gleamed with spunk and the boy whose legs were too restless for crawling. Geese fly in a V formation, and those who hang out in the back, they are lifted by the beat of the wing in front of them. So they call out in support to the one in front because they know they soon will be there, putting the team on their back. They call out honk honk. Now, I don't mean to call you a silly goose, but let's face it, you and I are a gaggle. The first time we flew without mom and dad to hold our hands, we flew together. A step towards independence I will never forget, yet I did not understand what it would mean to fly alone until I did not have you next to me to share the silence. I used to climb the bars of my crib and join you in yours. A story repeated so many times, I claim the memory as my own. At least that's what they always say. Sometimes I think that even at age 1, I was clairvoyant enough to realize that the days where we would spend sleeping under the same roof were numbered. Or maybe I just wanted to be there to shake you when the dreams were so vivid they seemed real, to pump my fist in the air when you won a race, and to pump it even harder when you lost. When the clouds rolled in across your skies and dumped unbearable buckets of rain, I would be there with a raincoat and a pair of boots so that we could have a dance. Because how many times did you do the same thing for me? The time you told me you would go dateless to prom if I had to because you did not want me to be the only one going solo. The times you explained my emotions to mom when I did not have the words to do so. You are the voice of empathy to every burden, the smile at the end of every finish line, the study partner for every math test, the inside joke I will always understand. And every time I feel lost, I know you will be there right beside me, ready to fling my arm across your shoulder and carry me back home. Honk honk. We can no longer fly together. Our time in this nest has come to an end. Our time in a home that has moved to wherever you and I are. So lend me your sweatshirt and I will lend you mine, a springboard into defining ourselves alone. And as we take leap off of our sturdy branches of this nest of love, we will be lifted even higher, and our wings will catch the winds of honk honk.
Give it up for Jess Faunt. Judges, what do you have for that poem? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we have Deluxe holding up the show. We have from low to high an 8.0, an 8.3, an 8.6, an 8.7, and a 9.4 for Jess Faunt. And keep that applause going, and please welcome back to the stage, Ariana Jacobs.
Hello, my name is Ariana, and this is called Awakening. Wrapped up in a web-spun sleep, so fragile it breaks when touched, everything calm, cools, collected to the interweaving your minds begin to unravel, and bam! It impales you like an open hopes-in wound, buying in on your face, a scream that makes your head implode, heart beating. At pace, wild, skipping, thumping beats ring in your ears like a large, confused distortion spinning at a constant rate. Lightning strikes you down, making convulsions spasm with a rushing of your own pulsing blood, then fear. It eats you up, devours you until you are nothing but that crowned girl, asking for him to stop, but you are trapped. Caught in the cracks of what defines a fine line between known and unknown, the music. I hear music, the ice cream man. I scream, we all scream, but I scream, and around it goes. Breathe. My mind's enclosed with 1,000 shining stars. My torment receding, my mind releasing. Darkness has departed. I am alive, and so I count. 1, 2, 3, and so I count. 1, 2, 3, and so I count. 1, 2, 3. This was no dream, but my awakening, my reality, my curse, my seizure. Thank you.
Ariana Jacobs. Judges, let's see those scores held high in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have from low to high a 7.7, a 7.8, an 8.0, an 8.5, and a 9.6 for Ariana Jacobs. Audience, you enjoying yourselves? You guys still in it to win it? Awesome. Well, we are on to the last 5 poets of the 2nd annual Verselandia. So please put your hands together and welcome to the stage, Zoe Sinner.
I am Zoe Sinner, and this is Sad, Angry, Strong. I am a dynamite gal, a dynamite mind, a pencil bomb of artistic epiphanies. My celestial body was born of the stars the way Athena was birthed. Out of Zeus's head, with an arrow pointed, ready to kill, I shoot to thrill. You may have noticed, egotism looks good on me. The way a black suit looks good on James Bond, because I'm not coming from a place of male privilege, cis privilege, like most narcissistic personalities you see, the ones you meet hassling girls on the street. I am not your girl. I am not your babe. I am not your sweet thing. And no, I won't smile for you because I am Ozymandias, king of kings. So use my might and take a swing. Because I am the baseball bat the righteous use to beat the shit out of rapists. I am the defiance of the silenced. I picked the mud out from under my boots, mixed it in my palms, added a bit of my spit, and that was the day I molded the earth. I am Godzilla. And your assumptions, your preconceived notions, your prejudice is my Tokyo. I am the warp speed Romeo. I am the 1 in a million chance come true. I am like you. I am a sad little queer because I'm scared. I'm petrified of the power of prejudice from those who don't understand the privilege granted from systemic oppression, those who don't understand that one body can be the prince and princess of another body's dreams. I'm scared. So I throw ego like a shield across my back, wear it like a chest plate to protect my heart. Dress myself in ego, you would think me a sheep in wolf's clothing. I am like you, a champion. I am an angry little queer, swift as a snake in the water with a venomous bite. I am the shadowy figure you fear at night. Dangerous. Because I don't need anyone's validation but my own, and as long as I remember this, I know no matter how angry they make me, they can't strip away my identity. I am like you, sad, angry, and strong. I am a strong little queer because the sadness feeds the anger that makes me tough, makes me rough around the edges like Sherlock's calluses. I am a sad little queer, an angry little queer, a strong little queer. And if I am anything like you, confidence would look good on you too. Thank you.
Give it up for Zoe Sitter. Judges, what you got? Hold them up high in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From low to high, we have an 8.1, an 8.2, an 8.2, a 9.0, and a 9.8 for Zoe. Please applaud the poet. Welcome back up to the stage, Joe Cullen.
Thank you. It's liberating finding that you have a voice. Even more so realizing how you can use it. I don't like to make a liar of myself, so I try not to say things if I don't know they're true. But I broke that rule with you many times over. I said it along with all my goodbyes. It was my signature, and I forged it a million different ways. But it was hollow, plastic, with no value at all. Saturday, near the end of the month, an encounter I went into, trembling and shriveled, something happened that I didn't know could with you. I walked out the door feeling better than when I walked in. And you couldn't hear the difference, but when I said it that day, I was blooming inside because the words were real. And it made me feel so good that when I got home, I said it out loud on repeat till my mouth was sandpaper, and it echoed through my brain with a voice so loud that it kept me up all night, but it was a welcome guest. I meant it. I made that realization when you made yours. That your love for me was stronger than your hatred for her, that you respect yourself enough to not let yourself be the monster I had stitched together in my mind. Saturday, you found someone I didn't know was alive, who can look you in the eye and tell you how he feels, who believes you when you say he's important to you, who feels not like a skinless, defenseless body, and he's who I am now. Let's keep him around. Another fall, and I don't think he'll get back up. It'll hit me way harder when my guard is down, because every time I've seen you, I've come to you armed. I've been so used to the battle, and in my head I've stockpiled everything that I can say that will shoot you right down, let you know how it feels to be on the other side, cringing with the anger you have for this person. I wanted you to hate me. As much as you made me hate myself, I wanted to make you so angry you'd up and leave me forever. Tell you you're a loser, you're a failure, I don't want you around, that my life is so much easier with you not in it. And it's the best feeling ever to forget all of that and instead just say, I love you, Dad. And it warms me even more to know that's not a lie. I've wanted to know that for most of my life. Thank you, guys.
Give it up for Joe Cullen. Judges, scores up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold them high. From low to high, we have a 7.0, an 8.3, an 8.7, an 8.9, and a 9.7 for Joe Cullen. Please welcome back to the stage, Phoenix.
All right. Still not relaxed, not even a little bit. All right. All right, this poem is about me, and it's called Tea. Tea, not what you drink, but what you say. For me, it's how I live. You see, tea is in thousands upon thousands of places at once. Think, teach, try, talk, POET, WRITE, LGBTQQIIAA. LGBT for most, but WTF for everyone else. Lesbian, 2 women, gay, 2 men, bisexual, any combination of the two, but what about that last one? A question mark? Transgendered, a word that for me has become synonymous with hidden in plain sight. You see, the others have tells picked up on by the general populace. Girls kissing, boys holding hands, the things you like to do, the music you like to play, the way you walk and talk. But the trans are as known or unknown as we desire to be. Transgendered. What does that word even mean? Sometimes even I can only shrug, but I can say that it is not just a lonely question letter pulled along on the end of an acronym designed to describe everyone and only some, nor is it just a big long word no one's supposed to know the meaning of. Think of it as systematic dysfunction, as the violently abrupt destruction of what you thought you knew as your life and the ending of what was previously known as your world. As having a war zone raging on inside you, and the inconceivable boundary between your mind and your body is the front line, the ultimate incongruency. So what do? So you'll have to choose between anonymity and pain, or self-actualization, identity, the slim chance of finding happiness, and pain. Slammed up against the bars of a societal prison you just realized was constructed all around you, fighting with all your strength, screaming with all your breath, the body I possess is a lie. So what do? Stand up straight, walk a little bigger, bind your chest, act a little braver, alter your body's chemistry, voice drops, hair grows, throw on some clothes and walk out the door, hidden in plain sight, interspersed within the greater, more well-adjusted populace, and find yourself faced with strange new terrors. Hide your ID, lest your secret become known. Just barely make it through the day rather than brave a public restroom. So open up your eyes, open up your world, because for someone you probably know, theirs has just ended and begun. Because we walk among you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in this exhausting litany of letters and syllables, morphemes and phonemes, the T is not silent.
Applaud the poet! Judges, what do you have for the poem? Hold those scores high in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have from low to high an 8.1, an 8.3, an 8.4, an 8.8, and a 9.2 for Phoenix. And keep that applause going, and welcome back to the stage, Kelsey Turner.
See, I got it this time. Look. All right. I don't really have a title for this poem, I guess. General questions can only get a reply. When I send you a text saying, hey, and you just read it, that's pretty much the same as saying a goodbye. I ask myself, why would I even try to be your guy when the chances of us actually being with each other float further than the sky? But for you, I chase those chances by trying to grow a pair of wings and fly. And honestly, I don't know why I like you, because last time I checked, I'm afraid of heights. And when I look at you, it feels like I'm free falling 25,824 feet high. And I can tell myself that I'm okay with you ignoring me, but I know that's a lie. I want to call myself a dope because I'm always making wishes on 11/11, and it still doesn't give me hope because of the fact you still see me as a joke. But I know the time will approach where I can speak the words I've never spoke, so wish me luck, because saying these words out loud just might make me choke. B is your bashful beauty that bends and breaks buildings of a man's boldness to even approach you. E is an energetic energy engulfed gorgeously grazing your spirit. A is amazing admiration emitting atomic wonders into your anatomy. U is the ultimate understanding that you undoubtedly carry calmly. T is the training it takes for me to talk to you without feeling tranquilized. I is the insulin of inspiration you isolate into inches of my body. F is the fascinating frequencies fluently flowing from your mouth upon the frolic ears of many who have met you. U is a measure with everything past the moon in the sky. And L is a love leaving my lips in the form of these words, giving leverage to life that is led by loops and lumps that lock up into a lasso that cannot overlook the beauty in the L's in your first and last name. And I swear to God, I'm not lying about the liveness of the words I've listed on this list. And hopefully these words actually last and mean something to you, because for me, I cannot keep them discreet. From first sight, from my head to my feet, you made me weak to the point I couldn't even speak. You make the world happy. And I don't think it should have took this poem to help you realize that you can make the word beautiful.
Kelsey Turner! Judges, what scores do we have? We have from low to high a 7.5, an 8.0, an 8.3, an 8.4, and a 9.1 for Kelsey Turner. Applaud the poet. And please keep that applause going for the last poet of the night, Janet Webster.
This poem is entitled Her Son. It was the first time in a long time that I had seen a person's world crumble at their fingertips. Since I had witnessed someone so strong break, like the heart of a teenage girl, like one of the sticks her son snaps as he runs away from home, because anywhere is better than his house, than his school, being with anyone but his classmates, who he doesn't really think of as people, more like chalk outlines filled in with judgmental words, dotted with exclamation marks and lined with hatred. An 8-year-old's imagination can be very vivid. An 8-year-old's mind shouldn't be plagued with darkness. An 8-year-old shouldn't be depressed. But her son is. Her son is terrified to go to school because he doesn't have Nike shoes or elite socks, because he doesn't have a Superman lunchbox, because he doesn't have friends. Her son is being bullied every day for attempting the impossible task of being himself. Her son is an amazing example of the struggle for integrity. Her son is the epitome of a victim who, by definition, is just somebody looking for a friend. And nothing breaks her heart more than watching her baby boy lock away his toothy grin in a safe with a combination he never knew. And when I feel myself breaking along with her, continuing the chain reaction of chipping away at the hope we once had for this world that allows second graders to tear each other to shreds, where words are spiked with thorns and spears and are responsible for 11% of the deaths in children. And when I hug her to prove the statistics wrong, I don't fit into the mold of her arms anymore. I did once when it was me who they picked last for kickball games when it was me, who they tried to tie to the tetherball poles when it was me who needed her. Now it's a little boy who can dance like no one's watching, wearing t-shirts dug out of the Goodwill bins and tennis shoes that look like they used to be laced to telephone wires, with a jack-o'-lantern smile that only peeks out in his mother's embrace when she whispers into his ears, "Tú eres querido, tú eres querido, tú eres querido. You are wanted, you are wanted, you are wanted."
Janet Webster. Judges, this is the last time I'll ask you to do this for the evening. Hold those scores up. And we have from low to high an 8.5, an 8.5, an 8.5, an 8.7, and an 8.9 for Janet Webster. And while Dan is tabulating the scores to figure out who the top 5 score holders are, I was thinking that perhaps I would share a poem with y'all. Would that be all right? All right. Why you gotta ruin my surprises, huh? Huh? Be patient. Be patient. This is for the impatient ones. What if I just did a different poem right then? This is for the fat girls. This is for the little brothers. This is for the schoolyard wimps and for the childhood bullies that tormented them. For the former prom queens and for the milk crate ball players. For the nighttime cereal eaters and for the retired elderly Walmart store front door greeters. Shake the dust. This is for the benches and the people who sit upon them. For the bus drivers driving 1,000,000 broken hymns. For the men who have to hold down 3 jobs simply to hold up their children. For the nighttime schoolers and for the midnight bike riders trying to fly. Shake the dust. This is for the 2-year-olds who cannot be understood because they speak half English and half God. Shake the dust. For the boys with the beautiful, beautiful sisters. Shake the dust. For the girls with the brothers who are going crazy. For the ones who are going out of their minds. For the gym class wallflowers and the 12-year-olds afraid of taking public showers. For the kid who's always late to class because he forgets the combination to his lockers. For the girl who loves somebody else. Shake the dust. This is for the hard men who want love but know that it won't come. For the ones who are forgotten. The ones the amendments do not stand up for. For the ones who are told, speak only when you are spoken to. And then never spoken to, speak every time you stand so you do not forget yourself. Do not forget yourself. Do not let one moment go by that doesn't remind you that your hearts beat thousands of times every single day and that there are enough gallons of blood to make every one of you oceans. Do not settle for letting these waves settle and for the dust to collect in your veins. This is for the celibate pedophile who keeps on struggling, for the poetry teachers, and for the people who go on vacations alone, for the sweat that drips off of Mick Jagger's singing lips, and for the shaking skirt on Tina Turner's shaking hips, for the heavens and for the hells through which Tina has lived. This is for the tired and for the dreamers, for those families that will never be like the Cleavers with perfectly made dinners and sons like Wally and the Beaver. This is for the bigots, for the sexists, for the killers, for the big house jail sentence cats becoming redeemers, and for the springtime that always seems to know to show up after every one of our winters. This is for you. Make sure that by the time the fisherman returns, you are gone. Because just like the days, I burn at both ends. And every time I write, every time I open my eyes, I'm cutting out parts of myself just to give them to you. So shake the dust and take me with you when you do, for none of this has ever been for me. All that pushes and pulls and pushes and pulls, it pushes for you. So grab this world by its clothespins and shake it out again and again and jump on top and then take it for a spin. And when you hop off, shake it again. For this is yours. Make my words worth something. Make this more than just another poem that I write, more than just another poem, like just another night that sits heavy above every one of us. Walk into it, breathe it in, let it crash through the halls of your arms like the millions of years of millions of poets coursing like blood, pumping and pushing, making you live, shaking the dust. So when the world knocks at your front door, clutch the knob tightly, but then open on up and run forward. Run forward as far and as fast as you must into its widespread greeting arms, with your hands outstretched before you, fingertips trembling though they may be. Thank you. And please welcome up to the stage Andrew Proctor and Mary Rackner. All right, are y'all ready for this? In 5th place, we have Lauren Steele. In 4th place, we have Sydney Oliver. In 3rd place, we have Jess Faunt. Our 2nd place winner is Ke'Shayla Brown. And in 1st place, Micah Fletcher. A round of applause to these 5. And if we could get all the poets that performed tonight up here on stage. It is not easy to open your heart and your soul and your mind to a room full of strangers at any age, especially when you are young. So please, all the power that's in you, a round of applause, all your love for these wonderful folks. Thank y'all so much for coming. Have a good night.